everyone, it is AD with Kosmostrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading, and this reading is going to be about your bundle of joy. So we're talking about kids here, guys. I'm so excited to do this reading. I actually already did this reading for real, and then I could not upload it for real. So that was very annoying for me. So that's why you guys were the first reading that I did for last week. And then y'all are the last because I really had to rebuild myself back up. So I decided to keep it fresh. I added another pile, okay? And I already pre-picked, the card. So I'm not going to be shuffling on camera. But look at all this juice. Oops, I'm already like dropping stuff. But like, look at all this juice. You see how thick, oops. You see how thick this pile is? You see how thick this is? So we're gonna get into it. But I already pre-picked, so hopefully that might save some time. I don't know, because I'll be running my mouth, guys. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So this is pile 1, the Ace of Wands. Pile 2, the Ace of Cups. Pile 3, the Ace of Pinnacles. And pile 4, the Ace of Swords. So take a moment, meditate, okay? See what, I got too excited there. See what pile speaks out to you, and I will meet you over at your pile. So of course, you know, we're going to start out with pile 1. But before you go, if you're still here, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys are literally rock stars, and I fucks with you so heavy. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this reading finds you well, but let's hop straight into it. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and put these where these are supposed to be so I don't get lost in the sauce and confuse myself. All right, guys. Hi, I am AD. Welcome to Kosmostrology. I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading. So this is if you picked pile 1, the beautiful Ace of Wands here. Let's get straight into it. So today we're going to be asking about your future kids. We're going to be asking how many, and that is going, you know, obviously there's going to be a range, but we're going to ask how many. What are their personalities? What do they look like? Their interests? What do they learn from you? And ultimately, what do you learn from them? And then we're going to end on some oracle cards. So I really hope that this reading finds you well. Again, let me know if you, if this resonates, guys, especially if you already have kids. I want this to be open. I'm just describing your kids, your future kids, your present kids. So you just let me freaking know. So without any further ado, guys, let's hippity hop into it. Again, we're starting off with the Ace of Wands. I'm going to put it down there just for reference. It's probably going to get lost in the sauce, but that's okay. So now we're going to look to see if we can see how many kids will you have. Again, these numbers range, so we'll break it down if that's appropriate. All right, so I'm seeing 2. All right, so we see 2 kids here. I am hearing it could be 2 kids, 1 pregnancy. So you might have twins, but between 1 and 2 kids. So 1 being the least, 2 being the most. It's kind of what I had to hear. And I do want you to remain open with how that can happen and how kids can enter your life. You know what I'm saying? Like a kid doesn't have to, you don't have to give physical birth to have a child, or to, this could be adoption. This could be through foster care. This could be through, what's the other one that I'm looking for? I can't think of the third one that I'm looking for. Oh yeah, through marriage and blended families. But I do see at least 2 kids on the menu for you, all right? So that's where we're starting. So now we're going to hop into the cards. So like I said, I already pre-picked them. So they're going to be, it's thick. It's a thick deck. So let's just hop straight into it. So we're starting off with 7th house Libra, which is super interesting because there is like a boy and a girl here. So perhaps you could have a boy and a girl. I am sensing somehow 2. They could be twins. Like I said earlier, we have the number 4 here. 9th house, faith, Sagittarius energy. 2nd house, owning. So again, with the Taurus energy. 10th house, Capricorn. And Leo, I will. All right, so let's look into this personality. 7th house, so really likable, very charming child. I think that this child kind of has an easy, not necessarily an easy way in life, but they're very likable, very charismatic, especially with the Leo. They stand out. I do feel like your child Might be a late bloomer with all that Taurus energy. Love you, Taurus, but y'all know how y'all get down. It's in your own time. It's at your own speed. But I am picking up on such strong Taurus, Capricorn, Earth energy here. So they might be a late bloomer, like I was saying, but this person is going to amass a lot of wealth. I do feel like your child will certainly be wealthy by the time it's all said and done, or at least very, very, very popular with the Leo energy. They are determined to make money, so very focused, driven. I am picking up on strong masculine energy. I'm picking up on a boy's energy right now, because all of this, besides, these are feminine energies and these are all masculine energies. But with the Sagittarius card here, I do feel like your child is going to want to explore and travel and do different things, or your children will be different. Perhaps your partner could be of a different race, so your kids could end up being mixed of some sort, or just kind of exotic, or maybe you travel a lot. So I do feel like your kids are going to have a lot of cool experiences with the world. And like I said, very likable. I do imagine that you will be able to provide a comfortable lifestyle for your kid, even if you're not the richest. With all this energy here, you do provide, you do spoil them. I do see with the Leo energy, they are spoiled. So even if you grow up and even if you feel like, I'm like stumbling over my words, but even if you don't feel like you are wealthy, I do think that your child will not know that they are, quote, poor, because you treat them so well. So I do imagine that when they find out that you've had financial issues, that's kind of what kicks them into gear 5,000 as far as just getting that money. Strong Capricorn energy. But your child will have an awesome reputation with the world. It might come a little bit later with the second house there. But I do see such beautiful energy here. So for them, as far as like just knowing how to navigate the world, knowing how to navigate themselves and the world around them. So really, really awesome. Very popular kid, good looking, great hair. Like I said, they might be of a mixed race, so their hair texture might be different. But I do see with the Leo energy and 7th house, Venetian ruled, and Taurus, it's a good looking kid. Your kids are gonna be good looking. Absolutely feeling that. So now let's dig into more of the astrological cards. So we got Cancer. Wow, interesting. Scorpio. Very sensitive, extremely sensitive, deep thinking. Your child is far from shallow. Even though they might be good looking and they might take their time with life, I really do feel like they can be kind of broody because they do think about life a lot differently. The cool thing about the Scorpio Leo mix and even the Scorpio 10th house Capricorn mix is they do give off an air of royalty. So your kids are going to feel good about themselves. I do think that they'll have a lot of confidence. Their frustrations will be more so with the world and how it's set up. So I do sense like they might get into politics or do just kind of revolutionary type work because they want things to be different. I do see, if you're the feminine watching this, I feel like if it's a boy, he's going to be a mama's girl. And like I said, if it's twins and they will be mama's girls. Or mama's boys. I just feel like there's a very deep attachment with this Cancerian energy here. So your child absolutely will most likely have water placements, Pisces energy too. So I do imagine, especially, they will be creative. Your child will be creative, or your children will be creative. And they will be known. They will build a reputation for their artwork and kind of the beauty that they bring into the world with their sensitivity. Some of them might be poets or writers, I'm hearing. But I do imagine that your child will absolutely thrive in the arts. And you will want to give them something, Pile 1, to channel into because they will have so many emotions. Their moon might end up being in like a water sign. Guys, quick reminder, I do subscribe to Vedic Astrology. So my placements might be a little different than yours, but the energies will read about the same. But they might have a moon in a water sign. So you'll just have to be careful. You'll just have to be aware that they have to channel that energy, in a very creative way. I just heard some of them could absolutely be singers, and they're going to follow their passion. They're very passionate people. They definitely have a stubborn streak. I feel like they got that from somebody. I'm not saying it's you, but I'm saying they got it from somebody. And this person, like I said, your child is going to be very confident, or your children will be, like I said, between 1 and 2, Venus, right? Very good looking, very attractive. And it could be, again, because they are mixed. Doesn't have to be, does not have to be. Just because you're mixed does not mean you're beautiful. Just because you're not mixed does not mean that you're not beautiful. But I do think that they do have a lot of Venetian and symmetrical features that others will find attractive. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You can't help how you look, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like your kids will be very attractive and extremely popular. I cannot get over that. And then Mercury, so communicator. So we also have Virgo and Gemini energy represented here, again representing twins, Venus, Taurus, Libra. So very strong placement. So with that, they're very balanced. I do feel like your kid is going to be very, very balanced as they move towards life. They will, again, appreciate the finer things, and it's because you give them to them that I'm hearing like bad and bougie. Like your child will be bougie, whether they're a boy or a girl. Again, I'm picking up on strong masculine energies with feminine qualities. But yeah, and that doesn't, and I'm not saying that about sexuality or whatever. I just feel like they have feminine placements, but they are masculine. I would assume that it's a boy at this point in time. But a boy who is very empathetic and one who is very in tune into their emotions. Definitely a creative soul. I do feel like with this Mercury and just how I kind of was earlier when I started speaking, your child might have like a speech impediment a little bit, or it might take them a longer time to develop, speaking wise, but they'll be fine by the time it's all said of it. Like it might take them a long time to start talking or communicating, just because when they first enter the world, with all this water energy, they're just really absorbing and feeling it out. So if you already have a child and they're like slower developing, they really are just soaking up the information at the sponge. Your child moves at their own pace, especially with the Taurus energy. So you're not going to be able to rush them at all. But once they do start talking and communicating, it'll be a lot and they'll be super expressive. So don't worry about it. Don't let anybody label your kids, okay? You know them and let them get through it. That doesn't mean that labels aren't important, but you know your kid better than anyone else. They chose you, you chose them. So get to know them and work with what is, with what you have. But I do feel like be patient with your child, or your children. Like I said, if it's two, because they will take a long time, or they might have some sort of speech development in their younger years. And maybe perhaps you did too. So maybe you relate to that. So let's look. So now we're moving into their looks. Aw, so we got this bison. So why did I pick the animal cards to show how your kids look? Because I do feel like some people, you are like a Giselle and like, oh, very graceful and everything. Like you with this bison, I'm getting that your child will probably be bigger or stockier at this point. They could easily, I'm not picking up strongly. We'll look into their interests. They might be into sports, but even if they are into sports, they're very artistic. So some of them could be big, like linebackers, especially if they're masculine, but I do sense like a pretty full energy coming in for them. But again, this really sweet look. They're very abundant. That's why I was just like, they're going to be decked out. Regardless of if the buffalo correlates to them, they will be fashionable. They will be in the latest trends, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? They will not be looking broke. You will not catch them dead, looking not like $1,000, however much money they have in their account. I do feel like your child is extremely fashionable, or your children are extremely fashionable. Look at this. We got the lizard. So it's one of those things, right? I don't want my kid to look like a lizard. They're not. I just feel like it's going to be too different, especially with the Mercury versus Taurus. You will either have a kid who is very stocky, bigger, and again, it could be one or the other. And me and my sister are kind of like this. I am definitely more on the bison side, and she's definitely more on the slender, sleek side. So if there's two kids, then they might be different, but they'll look similar, if that makes sense. Like me and my sister have the same face, just totally different body types. But I am getting that they'll be fast. They'll be quick. So if they are into sports, they really will be able to move fast. They'll kind of have like this lean body, but they will constantly be in reinvention mode, especially with that Gemini energy with the Mercury, Virgo. They will constantly be doing new things, putting new hair, experimenting. Like I said, your child could be known on a grand scale. They could be a celebrity at some point or have some sort of influence platform. So they will constantly be changing up their look, switching it up. You know what I'm saying? And then we got bottom, again, this horse freedom. So there is something very muscular and strong about your child, whether they're on the bigger end or on the slimmer end. They're very muscular. And like I said, they like to run, or they're going to be very fast and quick. So they probably will do well in sports. But like I said, I do feel like they're very much spiritual, and they use, how do I word this? It'll be kind of like Tai Chi and karate, how they're able to incorporate their spirituality into their physical practices. Of course, it doesn't have to be Tai Chi karate, but I do imagine that they'll be able to do that. They'll be able to bring those two things together and be very successful. I feel like working out or doing physical activities does provide a sense of freedom. And it also, what's the other word that I'm looking for? It does provide a sense of freedom, but it's a spiritual experience for them also, is kind of what I'm hearing. So that's really interesting. So now we're going to look into their interest. All right, so we're starting here with the 8 of Cups, the 9 of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune. I really get this energy here that your child is going to be different until they're not. Like they might, in their younger years through elementary school and middle school, they might have had a more difficult time. Just with that 9 of Wands, very defensive. I am getting a super shy energy. Your child is very shy, hence why they might not talk very much. But eventually that will change. And again, with the 8 of Cups here, I do feel like your child will want to travel, explore, see the world. Look at that, the 3 of Cups. They will be extremely social later in life. Like I said, I do get that your child is a later bloomer. Like they really step into themselves outside of their schooling. So probably through college and right after college is when you really get to know them, because they're finally getting to know themselves. Oh my goodness, the Empress to the Star card. So what did I say? Your child is very abundant, with the Empress card coming in the middle next to the Star, Wheel of Fortune. So your child is going to be very, very powerful, whether a male or a female. They're just going to be very creative. That 3 of Wands there, and they're going to be a star for it. So I do imagine that your child is going to be able to provide a certain lifestyle for you down the line. They really respect what you did for them growing up. I don't know why I'm zoning in so specifically on pile 1. So maybe you have one child, but I'm really getting that I'm speaking about one specific kid who is going to definitely take the world by storm. Humanitarian energies here, could have Aquarius placements. But I just feel like your child is going to be so popular and known for what they do. And again, it could be in like this sports way. But I very much get this super sweet quality about them. As far as their relationship with you, with the Empress, whether they're a boy or a girl, they really cherish you. Some of you guys, I am getting that, like you could be single throughout the course of your connection, or you might be a single mom. They worship you for that. They absolutely worship for you for that. That might not be for everyone. If you are in a committed relationship, then I imagine that you will be a home taker. You will be a stay-at-home mom. And so they really appreciate feminine energy in this really deep and intimate way. Like I said, this masculine is in tune with his femininity, and spirituality and all that good stuff. And again, that's no indication of sexuality. I just want to express that. That's no indication of sexuality. It's just this masculine really learns to appreciate the feminine. And if it's a feminine, she really embodies this feminine Venetian energy. Again, strong Taurus energy here. And will be known possibly for their beauty or just the things that they create. Yeah, so I am, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. So anyways, we got the 8 of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Emperor. I told you, I'm happy that both of them came up. So it might be different for both of you, but this kid is really balanced in both their masculine and feminine energies. Like I said, their school, the Hierophant here, and that represents kind of early foundation and childhood. This person will be very grounded. And again, their friends might be a little delayed, but they will stand out much later. This person will be kind of known, I'm saying this person, your child, excuse me, will kind of be known as like a staple, you know, like an icon. I'm really getting some iconic ass energy from here. And like I said, we have this Empress and Emperor here, so it could be twins. Like you could be twins. And again, it doesn't have to be in a boy or a girl, but one of them will be stockier, one of them will be thinner. You know, I am getting that energy where they just balance one another out if they do in fact have to split. But your child is going to, perhaps there's a lot of movement or stuff when they're younger, so they really are going to cherish being able to establish their roots a lot younger, but mad boss energy. You are raising a little boss, okay? Not even for a second. And if they're not well known from a creative perspective, then they will be very much well recognized in whatever industry or field they do. Just mad boss energy. People will come and seek advice from them. So they are headed straight to the top. Your child is extremely ambitious. It might take them some time to get there. Again, strong Taurus energy, but you have faith in them. And I do even think too, with the Eight of Swords here, you might feel like, dang, are they ever gonna kind of get it together? Or like, were we just kind of stuck in this wave? Are they ever gonna like grow up? But it's just like in due time. And by the time it's all said and done, you'll be so proud of this individual that you have raised, or the individuals that you have raised. But I do imagine distance and travel. So there might be a lot of traveling involved in their working career later, or they travel a lot when they're younger, and so they really focus on stability. But you are raising or bringing into this world an extremely powerful individual who knows their worth pretty early. I don't think that your kid will suffer from confidence issues much at all. If, like I said at the beginning, I feel like they'll wrestle with, how do I fit in, because I'm so confident in myself and I don't relate to my peers. So it's just going to take them a while to kind of find themselves, and they'll be much more comfortable as an adult than they are as children. It's kind of what I'm getting, very much an old soul. I do feel like your child will be capable of saying very profound things from an extremely young age. I do feel like they're very inquisitive, but stubborn. But stubborn and also faithful. So I do imagine that if you aren't the most religious or spiritual person, you are here right now watching a tarot reading. So I do imagine that you have some relationship with spirit, but I feel like your child will take it even further. Like they will be even more faithful than you would consider yourself to. And perhaps it's because they're growing up in a day and age where this is acceptable, and you know, tarot is so accessible, and here we are. But I do feel like they're really going to be quite the pillar of strength of spirituality for you and other people. And I don't know if that's something that they were necessarily taught. I think that it was something that they were born with. They come into this life with this higher knowledge and wisdom and just this appreciation for humanity, which is why they struggle so much when they're younger, because they don't understand why humanity is in the state that it's in. So they feel very weird. But once they recognize their own power, which I think that you are a huge influence in that, the Empress, I mean, you just, their life really centers around you and your strength, particularly if you're the feminine. And if you're the masculine, then they really want to prove to you that they can hold down the fort, that they can be a traditional man. And if it's a woman, then they want to prove that they can be a woman. So it just depends on where you fit on the spectrum. But I do get this energy that they will be a guiding light for other people once they are comfortable that they're different. And like I said, they'll be so much more comfortable in their adult years than they are in their younger years. And they'll be extremely attractive and beautiful and stand out for sure. So now we're moving into, what did they learn from you? Wow, so we got the Hierophant, this Taurus energy again. Like I said, they do learn about stability, and they learn about the discipline, and they also learn about fashion and just luxury. Like they learn how to treat themselves. They really learn how to love themselves and provide that stability within themselves from a very young age. And it could just be because they struggled so much with anxieties. You were always there to encourage them and be like, baby, you're fine. Baby, you're beautiful. Do not stop yourself. Do not stop the party just because you feel like you don't miss it, and people will catch up. So they feel like this really strong sense of foundation. I feel like your child, regardless of how you feel you're doing as a parent, they will always credit you for being like, I grew up in a very stable and conducive and loving household. My parents did the best that they could do. My mom did the best that she could do. My dad did the best that they could do if you're a single parent. And they appreciate that. Your child is so very understanding of circumstances. Again, from a young age, they have a very deep personal connection with spirit and source very early. And I think that you provide an opportunity to cultivate that with that Taurus energy there. The King of Wands, like I said, you teach them how to step into their power and how not to compromise. I just feel like you yourself are a pillar of strength. So they pick up from that strength from you. Again, all that fire energy here. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, strong Leo. Your child does not suffer from confidence later in life. They really don't. And the Eight of Wands. So they truly learn how to speak their truth, communicate, and be honest. I feel like honesty is really important to your child or to your children. And they have no issue communicating their truth. Hence why they end up building a platform, or people end up coming to them for advice, because they did not back down. And they could easily establish a new structure, a new order, and become really influential leaders in one way or another. And they preach their truth and they stick to it. But I do imagine that you raise such a powerful, dashing young man. I am getting strong boys, but you raise a very powerful feminine. You raise somebody who knows how to own a room. They're not afraid. They're not intimidated by life. They're just not. They're super strong and powerful, and understand themselves. So again, if you have other kids who don't feel like that, then this one is coming through the strongest. And I'm not surprised if you have other kids, but this child is very much a strong, dominant personality. So Spirit wanted to zero in on that. And again, you have a huge influence in that. And they would tell it. They'd be like, my mama made me like this again. Or my papa, he raised me by himself. And so I feel very confident. I know that fiercely independent is what I'm getting. Like, they're not afraid to do things on their own. They're just not. Just a strongly independent and very extremely productive member of society. You will be so proud of this person and what they're able to accomplish, even if it's at this very slow pace with that Taurus energy. Just gotta say. And so what do you learn? What do you learn from them? Excuse me. I wrote these questions down and I missed. Anyways, so excuse me for me fumbling over my own handwriting. But what do you learn from them? So yeah, really learning how to communicate. I think that you might be surprised at how strong your child sees you, because you might not feel that way about yourself, but because you preach and radiate that energy, that's what they pick up on. But you really learn how to communicate your ideas and your truth, and you also learn how to empower them and how to be a champion. I just picture a very close and tight relationship between you and your kid, you and your kids. Again, look at this, we got 2 there, so that could also signify twins. Excuse me, you guys, you're able to share your thoughts. I feel like your children or your child is very much receptive to information, and so you really are able to share your thoughts, and you learn how to communicate your thoughts and articulate yourself. Wow. They also teach you the magician and the power of manifestation, and just how much power you have, specifically if you're a feminine and you're raising a masculine, and they're going to be like, no, like you're the bee's knees. With the magician card here, they make you feel superpower and they support you equally. I'm being drawn to this dragon tattoo here. And so, like I said, you just are willing to fight and do anything with this combination here. And I do think, I know this feels more like what you learn from them, so it's interesting that I'm reading this way, but I do feel like with this Ace of Swords, you really teach your kids how to think, and they teach you how to think and express yourself. You might have issues expressing yourself with other people, but you and your child will be able to have really deep intellectual conversations. And I do want to say that it's not in the sense of you burden your child with your emotions. Your child genuinely asks questions and you have answers, and they take them in and they live that way. They chose you for a reason. And I think that you'll be super appreciative. And it's funny because I feel like after you have your kid, the one thing that they really bring in for you is you probably become more successful in your life, or whatever it was that you were manifesting and putting in. I feel like your life, will improve. Hence why they don't recognize the journey that you had, and then once they find out, they're so in awe and inspired. But I do feel like this first kid comes, or this first pregnancy comes at a time where you're still in the middle of manifesting your own dreams. And so they're there for that process. And so you have that support. And then finally, we have the 5 of Cups. I do feel like your child also teaches you to look on the brighter side of things. I feel like they have even though they are Scorpionic and Cancerian and very watery, I imagine with that Leo and everything, and even the Sagittarius, they really teach you about freedom and letting go. They offer you a different perspective of just like, hey, mom, dad, life is too short. You know, you're the bee's knees. You're a powerful person. Don't let other people bring you down. They really know how to encourage you and cheer you up and teach you how to look at, you know, the glass is half full. So I feel like your child is definitely more positive. I'm definitely hearing Jupiter. So it could be, again, Pisces, Sagittarius energy. But because they're so lucky and they've been blessed in life, they really want to share those experiences with you. And so they feel very strongly, they really teach you how to, again, look at the brighter side of things and not take everything to heart. Because this person, this kid, they might have had a really rough early couple years, but by the time they're grown, they're just like, man, F that. You don't struggle with that. And so they really offer you this really awesome perspective about life and yourself. And sometimes you're in awe of them because you feel like they know so much, but you've taught them, you provided a space with the Taurus energy. You provided a space for them to be able to really explore themselves. And like if it is multiple kids, and they are girls, then they're extremely masculine in the way that they go about life. They're very strong. Not saying that feminines are weak, but they fit more into masculine roles. Like they're okay being in charge, okay trailblazing. Again, we got that Ace of Wands energy there. So, and if it's multiple kids, then you raise equally strong multiple kids, right? So if it's two for you, then you would be able to say the same thing for both of your kids is kind of what I'm hearing. And then if it's one, then you know what it is. But I feel like both of your kids are very strong mind, strong-willed, blazing through, and they help encourage you and understand the power and the magic in life. And like I said, they will be bringing in the bacon. Your kid will be successful. They're not going to not be. And it's because they saw you work so hard. And so they want to step into their own power and be honest and communicate with that. So this is a beautiful energy. Of course, we're going to move into the oracle, guys. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this reading made sense. Please let me know if this resonates or if you think it will resonate as you kind of move through your life. But yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Please. What was I going to say? Follow me on TikTok. I post daily. Follow me on Instagram. I post weeklies up there. I do this cool thing called Wicked Wednesdays where I do go through Zodiac, Vedic Zodiac placements, readings, and then at the end I do like free live reading. So if that interests you, please follow me on Instagram for that. And I'm just gonna show y'all, you know, my little cash card if you feel it in your heart to be able to donate and contribute to the channel. I so appreciate that. This is CashApp. So $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224, $1, $5, $20, you know what I'm saying? And even prayers all helps. It goes to the same place, which is, you know, supporting myself. So I appreciate that. And if you have donated in the past, I just want to say thank you so much. And if you were with me for my journey as far as getting my car back, she back, transmission fixed. So I really appreciate that. And thank you so much. All right. So let's move into the oracles and then I'll get you out of there. So we got, let there be closeness between you, but always give each other space. Love never claims, it simply allows and gives. And I was kind of picking up on this energy when I was given that last spiel, because this reading kind of reminds me of my mom. And me and my mom are opposites, right? So she is a Vedic Leo, Western Virgo, and I am a Vedic Aquarius, Western Pisces. So we're very much opposites. We're extremely close. We have these really intellectual and deep conversations, but because we look at life so differently, sometimes we're like, what are you talking about? You know? And so I do think that there will be space and possibly distance, especially with that Sagittarius energy. I get that you and your kids might live further from one another, but there will be a lot of communication, texting, talking. You could have moon in the 11th or moon in the 11th. Your child could have moon in the 11th where it just kind of happens there's a lot of distance, but you guys are very, very close. But I do think that there has to be space between you and your child at points in times just because like you guys are different. You might be more on the practical side, especially with all that water energy that came out. You might very much be an earth sign. And so I do imagine that you guys could be opposites, but you will learn so much from them and they will learn so much from you. But don't judge your child and they won't judge you. And I don't think that you'll have those issues. But when you do, just make sure that when you are miscommunicating with one another, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. You know what? You're the polar opposite of me. That's why we're here together. So let me take this opportunity to learn instead of this opportunity to correct. Now you can critique, you know what I'm saying? But there's a difference between critique and correction. Critique leaves room for thought to be like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me take that into account and let me decide if I'm going to use that practice or not, versus correction, which is you're wrong. You need to do it this way. And me and my mother, I think we have a beautiful energy like that. And we'll talk to each other and just crack each other up because we are so different. But yet we're the exact same. Like, it's bizarre. So the apple never falls too far from the tree is also kind of what I'm hearing. So they'll just be like another manifestation and version of you. We got transformation. Your relationship with one another is about to deepen. Love conquers and transforms all things. I do think that especially with that, didn't we get, regeneration. So that's really funny that it echoes that scorpionic energy. So your child easily could have some scorpionic placements, Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising. But I do feel like this connection is going to change you. You will be a different person between this kid. Even if you have multiple children, they will change you. Your influence, their influence will make you a different person, and you will be able to directly be like, wow, my child gave me whole new perspectives through our conversation. I didn't think of life that way. And they're going to tell you, I didn't think of life that way either, but there's just this mutual transformative energy between the two. And it's funny because the opposite of Scorpio, so again, you could be Scorpio, they could be Taurus or have those placements. But I do get that, like I said, your child might start slower, but they will transform into this really beautiful thing that you are absolutely proud of. Both of your children will, or all of your kids will, however that happens. But don't judge them. Don't judge your kids' process. They really are onto something is what I'm hearing if you don't have them already. And if you did have this and you already went through this with your child, then I imagine that you're like, oh gosh, I had to pray every night and day to see if they were going to be okay. Well, they are. Everything is going to transform in kind of like this beautiful way. And then we have it is important right now to take a step back and spend more time alone. Instead of placing your focus on another, now is the time to give to yourself. So this just echoes again that you and your child will be extremely close and communicate, but at the same time, you are very much different, and you will have to get to need space between you and your child at times, just to try to understand them because they are so different. I am definitely getting with this star, Wheel of Fortune, the Emperor, the Empress. I am getting that, like that star seed energy or that psychic energy. So your child is just very different. They're very different. And it's so funny because if my mom picked this reading, me and my sister we experienced all the things that I'm talking about. So it's really, really funny. But I just think that be patient with your child. You could have, and if you're a Capricorn rising, then you would have Taurus in the 5th. So check your 5th house placements, Vedic wise, of course, to see if any of these placements, Libra in the 5th, or if you have, I'm nerding out right now, so just bear with me. If you have Libra in the 5th like I do, then you're a Gemini rising. But I just feel like you and your child learn so much from one another about the world, what you guys want from the world, how you feel about the world in and of itself. And then that child really does carry out this message that they were kind of gifted with this Aquarian energy. And they end up taking that and putting it on this massive scale. Even though you don't understand their process at times, you were the one who provided the home for them to even be able to explore these realms and explore these different places, and they are so grateful and see you as such a powerhouse, and they want to mold into that. Again, man, female, they're just going to step into that energy. They will have a really good balance between the masculine and feminines, and it's because you provided such a rock star solid environment for them to grow up in and feel like they can genuinely be themselves. So that is absolutely beautiful. And whether this child is here or not, they are so grateful for that. And you should be too. Just be patient with them because they're going to move at their own pace. You're not going to be able to push them, rush them to do anything that they're not going to want to do. They're very, very stubborn energy. That's kind of what I'm getting. So I am going to leave you there, my pal ones. Please, again, let me know if this resonated. Please don't forget to check out the description box for all the information that you need about your girl. And yeah, so this is super awesome. And yeah, peace, guys. Until next time. All righty then. Let's keep it chug-a-lugging. So now we're going to move into pile 2, guys. So this is if you picked the Ace of Cups. Pile 2, welcome. I am AD. This is Kosmostrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading about your future kids. So this reading is running a little bit longer. I did pre-pick the cards, and it is pretty detailed, but we're already at 40 minutes, and we're only in the second pile, and I got 3 to do. So pray for your girl, pile 2. Pray for me. But let's hop strippity straight into it. So we're going to be looking at how many, again, take that with a grain of salt, but we'll look at how many, their personalities, what their looks are gonna look like, their interests, what they learn from you, and what you learn from them. And then, of course, we are going to end on some oracle cards, guys. So let's hop straight into it. I'm gonna put this right here. It might get lost in the sauce, but this is just for reference. The Ace of Cups, pile 2. Let's get into it without any further ado. So, of course, we're going to start with astrology cards, guys. Please remember, I do subscribe to Vedic, so my placements might be a little different than yours, but the energy should read about the same. And secondly, I did want to say, please be open with your interpretation of kids, right? This could be a kid that you already have, right? I'm just describing your kids. This could be kids that you're gonna have. This could be kids that you adopt. This could be kids that you end up fostering. These could be kids that are more of a blended family. So remain open, you know what I'm saying? Don't go judging the process already. So let's go ahead and hop into it and see how many kids could you possibly have if we could get a range. Ooh, we had one hit the floor. 3. So we're getting 3 kids. So of course, when I did pile 1, one really dominant energy picked up, and then towards the end I said I think your kids will just turn out this way. So we'll have to see how this manifests, but right now we do have 3, and I do want to cause to Gemini, so there could be some twin energy that happened in the first pile too. So, you know, abundance, freestyling. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Like, I'm literally freaking out. All right, so let's get into your astrology cards. Okay, fire. Boom, bam. So we got Aquarius. I don't know why I just said Aquarius, excuse me. Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo right off the rip. I am getting that your child could have red hair, red elements, red undertones. I know I actually turn red in the summer. My hair will turn red in the summer. So it could be something like that, but I do pick up on a lot of fire energy, okay? Mercury reinvention, doubling down on that Gemini energy. Also Virgo represented here. Jupiter, Sag. You're dealing with a fire Mercury mix, so this is really funny. I am laughing, so I feel like your child or your children are going to be very funny. Or again, you can take all of these placements as different energies. Well, as we move through the reading, we're going to see how that 3 manifest. But I do imagine that you will have a lot of kids, and your kids are going to be happy. You're raising some happy kids. They might get into some trouble. They might get into some mess. I feel like your child or your children are going to be the type to blaze through something head first, bang their head, and they'll be like, okay, now I learned the lesson. They might do it again, but then they'll learn their lesson. But I do imagine that your child's going to feel very lucky and very blessed with you as their parent. Pisces, wow, more Jupiter energy. So very spiritual. Oh my gosh. And now I just got calmed. As funny as your children will be, they'll be deeply spiritual. I am so happy because this popped up in pile 1. And this is just a little, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry that y'all get the tangent, but I'm happy that to see these energies for these little babies, because I know for myself, I found my spirituality and stuff a little later. I'm still young, but you know, I was in my early 20s, so I can't imagine like having access to crystals and breathing techniques and tarot cards and all that other stuff through adolescence. And so it's interesting to see how the wave is going to is turning for the future generations. And so I do just think that the generations under us, or at least the people who are watching this video and all the other stuff, the kids are going to be extremely spiritual and just have a deeper understanding of life than we've had. And I know Vedic wise, we are moving into the age of Aquarius. Western says that we're already there, but of course I believe that children are the future, and you can kind of see this age of Aquariusness coming out through these cards, with just these spiritual beings who come into the world so enlightened. And I do think with this desire card, your child or your children are going to want to shift and communicate about their ideas and just their faith. They'll be very strong spiritually. And this is something that I feel like you teach and you curate, but you'll notice at a very young age, how little spiritual beings they are. Please curate this, you know? And that's the one thing that I do preach all the time. It's just like they spend a lot more time as adults than they do as children. And so if you notice that your child has creative tendencies or that they express themselves differently, explore that with them instead of trying to fit them into a box and categorize them. I feel like I can speak from my experiences with all this energy, and this is very similar to my chart, honestly. That's really funny. The only thing that's missing right now is Aquarius, but I just feel like, you know, they might be in their own world. And so I know that when I was younger, I was in special needs classes and all that stuff because I was dyslexic, but I just had a different understanding of letters, you know, and then my grandma, who worked with special needs children her whole life, really was just like, you're not dyslexic, we're going to work through it. And she taught me how to be patient. And now I read for a living, you know what I'm saying? For somebody who they said I could not read, and I absolutely could, but I just had a different understanding of language and all this other stuff, and it ended up tuning into this my creative process. So before you get quick to label your children, I just feel like they're going to be super expressive, or there could be one who just seems like they move a little bit slower than the rest, but it's because they're having a different reality. They're experiencing a little bit of a different reality. And like I said, with this Mercury retrograde here, their thoughts might be misunderstood for a while. Again, I'm not saying that not that anything is wrong with special needs. I do not want to, it's all encompassing all around, but I don't want to scare you and be like, I think your child will have special needs, but I don't want to shame special needs people and be like, yeah, your child's not going to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm toting a very difficult line. So I hope that you understand what I'm saying on a grand scale, and just really getting to know your kids and really letting them be able to express themselves, because I do feel like they're going to have this undeniable, insatiable urge to express themselves, and it is going to be in this really creative and kind of different way. So they might be very different, and the way that they think is challenged by society. But I do think that it's because they are further advanced spiritually than, you know, the limiting school systems that we have and little limiting structures that we have. So I am hearing that for you specifically, pile 2, you're really going to want to look into how you end up educating your kids and really being a part of their, you know, like this person might thrive in like art schools or engineering schools from an early age. You're really going to have to curate the education system to them, because they're just on different stuff. And I was bored in school. I knew how to read very early. Like I said, my grandma was a teacher, so I was bored by the time I went to 5th grade. So by the time I was in 1st grade, so I just did what I wanted to do during any of the tests. You know, like I said, Aquarius. So I did what I wanted to do, and they were like, "You're dumb," and I was just like, "Actually, I'm bored." So I do think that you might have that push-pull with your children, but I can't express to you enough just how spiritual and how understanding your child is of like the world itself, or your children are. It's pretty magnificent. And then we got Grand Cross Provoker. Like I said, they are going to challenge social norms. Not in an outcast way. Of course, we're going to keep pulling cards. I don't get that they're necessarily like outcasts, but your kids are meant to provoke. And moving forward. And I think it's just because they have like this really deep wisdom. Your children are so wise from such a young age, and they really grow into themselves. And like I said, they could get into sports or arts. They could use their body, but I feel like most of them are going to use their minds in order to kind of benefit themselves. But yeah, highly favored. So let's continue. So we got Taurus energy again. Taurus energy was really strong in the first pile. So I just get, again, like I told first pile, you have to be patient with your child. They're going to take their time in developing. Taurus is also ruled by Venus, so your kids could be good looking. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with a good looking kid. But I do imagine that they will be able to stabilize themselves. They're just building their own relationship with spirit and their guides. And they chose you because they know that you are a spiritual being. So at times you might not understand them, and they might provoke and bring these things out of you. But be patient. There's a strong cause here to be patient, because your child has as much. Yeah, I am getting that I'm picking up on one kid specifically. We'll see if another one comes through. But I do feel like your child will be very rambunctious at a young age. And then as they get older, they will very much even out and mellow and slow down. So like I always say, don't judge a kid too early. Wow, more Pisces energy. So, and it's funny. This is my Western chart. So you give birth to me. No, I'm totally kidding. But there is this energy here where they're really meant to be like these super spiritual creative beings. That's why I think it's hard for them to express themselves younger, just because they don't possess the vernacular or even the life experiences to be the person that they're ultimately going to evolve into. So that's why Spirit's saying absolutely be patient with this person, but certainly a dreamer, very idealistic, but at the same time pretty money conscious and stable. So as flighty as they come across, they won't be. Again, this could be speaking to two different energies where you do have a child that is more of the practical side. Again, they just kind of go through life and this is no shade absolutely to Taurus, but they move at their own pace. They kind of go at their own structures. They decide things for themselves. They're not really as they don't necessarily like to take a whole bunch of risk. And then on the other end, you have this super creative, spiritual, hippy dippy kid. But at the same time, very compatible, extremely compatible with one another. So I do imagine that for the most part, your children will be in good vibration if this is speaking about two different energies. Then we got Leo. So two fixed energy, so stubborn energy coming through. Great hair. Like I said about the first time, I do feel like your child will be a very attractive. But could be a little over the top dramatic. Again, this is also just speaking to the need for arts and the need of luxury. So you're raising a very creative children or a very creative child in particular, how that comes. But Capricorn, again, with the earth energy, they will want to profit and make capital off of what it is that they do for their talents. So your kids easily could be over the top dramatic, just doing the most at a young age. And then again, once they find kind of their activities and their rhythm within the universe, they will be able to transform that into something long term, but it might take time. So I am hearing, again, be very patient with your child. And they might be difficult younger and then again age into this really beautiful, graceful, powerful thing that is very stable, and you'll be like, wow, you turned out so different than I imagined. And then we got Gemini, so there could easily be two, could be twins here. But just emphasis on the duality. I do feel like you could easily have a child born in May. It's kind of what I'm getting very strongly, or December, but that's not for everyone, of course. But I just get that there's a duality to your child. They're multifaceted. And so it's really going to take some time to get to know them, because it's going to be so many different layers is kind of what I'm getting. And that's absolutely beautiful. I think that that's really cool. They're going to be super inquisitive. They're going to ask a lot of questions. It's interesting seeing this Gemini energy in juxtaposition of that Jupiter benefits, because those are opposing energies. So I do imagine that your child is very smart. That's why I was like, they might be labeled early as special needs, but it's not that. They're actually just very much ahead of the game. And they're going to grow into themselves. Absolutely. Yeah, but again, duality, so mutable, fixed, and then cardinal. So your child is very balanced. So some things that will be very stubborn on, other things that will be open on, and some things that will flip-flop from day to day. So I do imagine that your child will probably get into strong acting is kind of what I'm seeing with this here. Like they might be an actress, actor, and if not, then definitely in the money field. So you could have one child that's in the arts and then have another one or another two who work and do finance. I'm also hearing architecture with this earth energy here. So there seems to be, there's a variety within your children, but one is certainly going to move more into that artistic space and the others are going to move into the more financial realm. But extremely compatible. Perhaps they could even go into business together by the time it's all said and done. So great energy. So now we're looking into your looks of the kid. Now I did pick animal cards, not because your kid's gonna look like an animal, but I just felt like that was gonna be a really good visualizer for kind of what qualities they may or may not possess, right? So we're starting here with the white stag. I don't know why with this white energy, I get that your child might go gray earlier. So maybe, and I'm also seeing like a birthmark. They might have like a significant birthmark, and it could be in their hair. You know how some people have those white patches in their hair? But again, they're going to rock it and own it. But again, with this protector energy, that Taurus, so very strong, very sturdy children. I don't know why with these antlers, I'm hearing like adorn, so they might have like tattoos. Your child will definitely adorn themselves, especially with the Taurus energy. They're going to adorn themselves with tattoos, earrings, piercings. So you can let that go if you thought that you were going to have. You might have a child who is very much no piercings, no nothing, but then the other one is going to be all over the place. Trust me about that. But the stag energy is very stately, so I do imagine that there will be one of the children will be very tall and kind of lean is what I'm getting. Humpback whale singer. Wow, so singer. Like I said, there's a performer on your hands. You do have somebody. One of your children is going to make it into the entertainment. Probably the one that's most troublesome at the younger age is going to move into entertainment. And your other kids are going to be fine. I think that you're just going to have one or the twins or however it works. So you might have cool twins and then like the other outside kid. And you're like, oh, you're a lot. Which is totally fine, but you're going to be surprised by what they end up doing by the time it's all said and done. But I get, not necessarily look-wise, but I just get that they have a really big heart, very sensitive souls, especially with the Leo energy here. Your children both are very, very giving and generous, that Jupiter. So your child, you'll hear stories about how kind they are and generous they are. I feel like they like to share with other people and they get off on that. And then we got Elephant. So I will say, with these two energies, your child is probably most likely going to be bigger than you are. They could be tall, they could be stately, you know what I'm saying? But I do get that there's a big energy about them, so they will be larger than life, especially with the Jupiter. Very happy, jolly individuals. It's kind of what I'm getting. But I just get that when they enter a room, they definitely have a presence for sure. So it's interesting. So with the three kids, you know, you might have one that's thin and stately, and then you're going to have other ones that are just bigger, fuller energies. And their bodies could be banging. You know, bodies come in all different shapes and sizes. So this is, again, this is not a place to judge. But I do imagine that you're going to have bigger children. Who are going to be quite the force to be reckoned with. So if they get into sports, then they're going to be a little tank. Okay, nothing is getting past them, the little linebackers. But regardless, you could be sure your kids are just going to be bigger than you are. I think that, you know, you'll be the smallest one in the room when your kids join together. So I'm curious about who your partner is. All right, so let's go ahead and move into what their interests are. So we're starting off here with the Four of Swords. The Eight of Swords, that's very interesting. And the Queen of Cups. I do feel like, yeah, and this just backs up what I was saying earlier. You're really going to want to work with your child when they're older, when they're younger, again, because they are going to be quite different and feel like they're misunderstood, again, with this Piscean energy. They're just going to feel like they don't belong. And that's not in a bad way, in a negative way. They're just going to be different. They come in this life on a very high frequency, and they look around and they realize, I don't know why I'm here. Like, I don't understand the purpose. And that's why they end up becoming like these really phenomenal artists. But I do feel like they will later in life pick up a lot on meditation. They will become, with the Four of Swords here, they will take time out for themselves and kind of enter into hermit mode when they feel necessary, because they do hear a lot of other voices and drowning and just the technology age. And that's nothing to be afraid of. This is their personal journey. And again, I do feel like I'm picking up on one kid in particular. But they will move into like this more meditative state and really learning how to control the thoughts into emotions later. But in order for them to do that, in order for them to master that, that means that they struggle with it. And because of, like I said, when they're younger, they just feel misunderstood. But that is what leads them into this path, I think, of ultimate spirituality later down the line, and just being able to get in tune with their emotions. But when it first starts, they might have they might be kind of anxiety ridden. I just feel like life, especially for the one kid who's just a lot, they're a very overwhelmed spirit. They're an old soul, but like a new soul. Like they're just like, like, that's why they might be like an Aries Pisces mix. So there's a roller coaster ride that they go on. They're really blazing through a lot of spiritual journeys very quickly is kind of what I'm getting for one of your children in particular. Hence why I do think that they are brought with siblings who slow them down. And kind of keep them at pace and support one another. And also you, of course, we'll look into y'all's influence on one another later. But with this kid in particular, I just feel like they blaze through life and they struggle with anxiety when they're younger. But they end up overcoming it for sure with greatness there. So I wouldn't necessarily worry, but this is something that Spirit wants you to be aware of. So again, you can start working with them earlier so you can set them up for the best life possible. It's better to address it earlier. Like who wants to, and this is no shade, no tea to anyone, right? But it's just like, if you can prevent something before you get to 40 and have to talk it out, then let's talk about it early and start incorporating those energies into there too. So I do feel like one of your children in particular is going to desperately need a creative outlet for sure in order to wrestle with their anxieties of just honestly being alive. Can relate. So I get that. Here we have the Knight of Wands, that fire energy coming back. Oh, excuse me. The Chariot in the middle and the Ten of Swords. So I feel like you're raising really strong, really strongly willed children eventually emotionally. I get with this Ten of Swords to this Chariot. I'm going to be completely honest. And of course, we'll look into it more later. But I just feel like one child in particular is going to, it's just a misunderstanding of where you guys are coming. You might have K2 in the 10th or K2 aspecting the 10th, where there's just some karma that has to be sorted out between you and your child, because they're very strong-willed and they run around and they're quite rambunctious and all this other stuff and kind of do their own thing and are like try to be this free spirit type thing, and you're trying to ground them, but it takes time. Like I said, be patient. Don't judge your child. It takes time. They swim a lot in their own thoughts with all this Piscean energy that's coming out and also this Cancerian energy. So they're very much deep thinking creatures, spiritual beings, right? Like as we all are. But there's a patience that has to come with them. But I do feel like your child will always be on the move, or one of your children will certainly always be on the move with this wand energy here. Again, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, strong Aries. Like I said, Aries, Pisces is really what I'm getting for some of you or one of your kids in particular. For the other one of your kids, like I said, I just feel like there might be more homey. We got the Five of Pentacles. They might be more homey. And then you'll have one that might not be that way. We got the World card. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. The Magician, and then you got an extra one with the Ten of Pentacles. And Spirit told me to keep it because I was like, do I need to keep this card, or should I move it elsewhere? And Spirit was like, keep it. And I'm happy that I did with the Ten of Pentacles, because like I said, I just feel like the relationship might come into challenges with one child in particular, but they just have a lot of spiritual lessons to learn, and they chose you to be the one to deal with that with, and they're going to be teaching you things too. We're absolutely going to look into that. But it overall is a happy family vibe for sure with the Ten of Pentacles coming out there. There's such powerful manifestation. As far as their interests, like I said, I do feel like they do want material success with the World card here. There's a strong desire of your children to kind of change the circumstances that they were have as children. Doesn't necessarily mean as a bad thing, but it could just be like my mom, for instance. She was born in Cleveland. I was like, I had to get out of Cleveland, so they're desperately trying to get out of their home environment or where they grew up, and just kind of be different. So I do imagine eventually the kids will get out and reestablish themselves, and you'll be very, again, proud of what it is that you have raised. But I do imagine that there will be a lot of cycles that come in and out of your children's lives, regardless of how you've played in it. Perhaps you already have children, and this is resonating where there's just been a lot of changes and all this other stuff. They will eventually stabilize. If you don't have kids yet and you're looking for this as the future, I just imagine that there will be a lot of changes in their life. There'll be a lot of movement. Either you move around a lot, or the paternal, maternal, whoever the opposite is of you are, moves around a lot. So there will be like this craving for stability. But the biggest thing that I really feel is that you're going to have to nurture their creative side. Spirit wants that to come through a lot because it's going to be so easy to misinterpret or misunderstand your children because they're different. But they will definitely move the pendulum forward. So let me see. Am I getting anything else? I do feel like I want to take some more cards. I had a feeling this would happen. So your kid, this is not bad. It's not bad, but your children are a little bit more complex. The Queen of Pinnacles. So there we go with the Taurus energy again. And their Pisces energy again too. And the King of Swords. Yeah, so I'm getting this energy here where there are definitely going to be changes. My prediction is like, yeah, the Six of Wands. It really is going to work out and it's all going to come together. But I feel for some of you, again, don't be worried. I'm just preaching what I see. It might not resonate for everybody. It's okay. It's okay. I just feel that there's going to be one of the kids is going like, you'll have a kid with somebody and you're probably going to break up with that person and then you'll end up having your other kids after this first kid, if that makes sense. So there's that's kind of where the outcast misfit. So that's why I feel like you're going to have 3. So you could possibly have 2 marriages, 2 relationships, 2 different fathers, 2 different mothers. And then it's more of a blended family is kind of what I'm getting. So I do feel like they're going to internalize a possible divorce with the first kid. And that's why your second kids are more stable because they grew up in a 2-parent household. You know, it's fine. You're established. I feel like this first child might be in for the ride. And so they end up internalizing life differently because they had a different set of experiences is really what I'm getting. But it all works out and comes together. The 4 of Wands here, I don't want to leave it on a negative tone because it's just their journey. But Spirit is telling you right now, the 9 of Pentacles, that it's their own independent journey and they're going to be moving through those energies. And there's not necessarily anything bad about that. That's just what they've signed on to for this lifetime. And you are the mother or you are the father. But I would say for you, side note, you'll probably end up having either 2 marriages or different fathers / mothers for your children ultimately. And that's absolutely cool. You know, please don't take that, especially if you're watching this and it hasn't happened yet. Shiz happens. It's okay. It's totally okay. Your child will be absolutely fine. 10 of Pentacles. They'll figure it out like everybody else. Like I'm a child of divorce. Of course I have demons, but it's totally fine. Like everybody else. All right. So now let's move into what did they learn from you? All right. So yeah, look at this. The Death transformation card, the Page of Swords, and then we have the 9 of Pentacles again. So they really learn the power of independence and they learn the power of transformation and to an extent, the power of endings and how when things end, you can start over again. You can reinvent yourself. You can rebuild yourself and kind of enter into this new sphere. But they learn the power of strength and they watch you. Again, with the Scorpionic energy, they might not be able to articulate that earlier, but they really do see you holding down the fort. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. See what I'm saying? So I do see 3 kids, but one of them in particular's energy came through very, very strong. And your other kids will absolutely be stable. Or again, you could have the first 2 and then the third one's different. It could mean anything is kind of what I'm getting from this card. But they really see the power of strength and standing on your own 2 feet. And they appreciate that. But at the same time, they do see endings. They do see endings. You do teach them about endings and starting over and rebuilding and new beginnings in some ways. So just be mindful of that. All right. And then let's see, what do you learn from them? The 6 of Swords. Oh, wow. The Sun card and the Empress. I love it. I love it. They really do see you as this beautiful light. All 3 of your children do. I'm just claiming it. All 3 of your kids see you as like this beautiful, powerful Empress and just this divine feminine. And I do think that they make you feel that way with the Sun card. I just feel like your children are certainly the light of your life. They also, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. Particularly if, oh my God, I could almost cry right now. Okay, I just feel like your child, what they really learn from you, particularly with this first one, is they learn the power of walking away. What they fail to realize when you're younger is if you did walk away from the partner, they internalize that, but later they see that as strength, that you, for their love of them, you said, I'm not going to raise my child in this environment. I'm not going to have my child grow up in a toxic place. I'm going to make a decision to be better and give them the life that I provide because the first one did not work out, or so be it. And so after they're able to be in a space and realize just the strength and the courage that it took for you to leave, there's so much respect for you. So be patient with this child. They just are on their own journey. And I feel like the kids who come from that second relationship or what have you, they really see you as like this stable person because they know what you did. They know what you went through. That first kid is kind of going through it with you, so they don't understand. But once they do, it really works out and you end up with this extremely beautiful relationship. Again, the Nine of Pentacles to the Empress. They learned it from you. They learned how to be a boss from you, but you certainly chose you, yourself, and most importantly, that child before the relationship, and they don't get it at the time, but they will completely understand later. So this is absolutely, oh man, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. It does really work out. And so that's all I got. So I am going to move into your oracles. But before we do that, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know if this resonated. I feel like you already might have child one. You might already be in the middle of the journey. And perhaps you were saying if you're going to have more children. Yes, you will. And in a committed and long-term relationship. So the child, if they're giving you any issues now, it will work out later. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for like, sharing, subscribing, guys. Please don't forget to check out that description box. I do personal readings, guys. So book a personal reading with me. Shoot me an email if that interests you. Don't get scammed. You know what I'm saying? I've seen scammers on YouTube. Nothing has happened to me yet, but y'all know the drill if you're in the community. Follow me on TikTok. I post daily. Follow me on Instagram. I post weekly. And on Instagram, I do Wicked Wednesdays, which are live freebie personal readings. And yeah, thank you so much for your continued support. I am going to bring out my Cash App card, guys. So this is if you have access to Cash App and it's put on your heart and your spirit to donate to your girl. I super appreciate that. $1, $5, $25, you know what I'm saying? Or just a prayer. It all goes to the same place. And so I appreciate that. Even if you just shoot me some energetic love. So we have the $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. And I do want to thank you so much personally from the bottom of my heart if you have donated any amount already. It really means a lot to me and it helps me keep doing this. If you like it, it helps me keep doing these things. All right. So let's go ahead and move finally into your oracles, guys. So let's see. So manifesting miracles. Your dream is soon to become reality. Trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. So like I said, I do feel like some of you already have the first child who is a little bit sassafras, to say the least. But if you're trying to manifest this a long-term committed relationship in a stable environment and all that other stuff for them, it will come in. Don't worry about it. It's just a part of the process. Your child will understand later down the line, and you'll be able to communicate those things. But make sure that you put them make them a part of the process if you're asking yourself any of these questions. But your dream is soon to become a reality. It's going to happen. And in general, if you don't have any children, you will. So you will be having kids pretty soon. You might start on this gambit. So I will say, if you don't have any kids yet, and you're in the middle of a relationship right now, just understand that, you know, be prepared that you might have to be single for a little bit. This person that might father your kid first might not be ready. So that's a message for somebody, not for everybody. And then we got a message for you. I'm thinking of you this very moment. Your love fills me with light. I love you. So this is really speaking to if you already have a child that you are disconnected with. They absolutely love you. They think about you all the time. They're just learning how to communicate and understand you. Even if they're young, you know, they love you. So I'm also hearing don't fault yourself for any differences or any of the changes that came in childhood. It's a part of their journey. You can't take that. And then power. You instinctively know what is right and wrong, and you have the power to walk away or say no at any time. So I can't help but, again, be drawn through the Empress and the Power card. It's so funny. The Empress came up in pile 1. I totally forgot. But you demonstrate so much power, and you and your children give your children so much power, and they give you so much power, because I do think that by the time it's all said and done, you'll be so proud of the little gremlins that you have raised. And just don't be afraid to do what you got to do is really what I'm hearing. Like, you're powerful. They'll hop on board and respect it. Particularly if you're in the midst of deciding, like, man, my child's father isn't the best. Like, but should I try to work it out? You know what to do. You know what to do. You know what your situation is. As somebody said, don't let some random lady on YouTube tell you what to do with yourself, because you absolutely know. But I do get that it's just time to start making those decisions. Don't be afraid to leave something at any point in time or fight for what you got, because there is a partnership and there is that Four of Wands, that whole family, that Ten of Pentacles, right? That's for you. It just might come a little bit different than you thought. But be mindful for that. And that might be why your kids are different body shapes too, is kind of what I'm hearing, is like at the beginning, because they might come from different sources. You know what I'm saying? They might have different source material, which is totally cool, guys. So that's what I got for you. Again, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out that description box below for any other information that you like to get from me. All right. Thank you so much for your continued support. Let's keep it right on trucking. Woo. We're moving through this reading. Okay. So this is if you picked pile number 3. Welcome to Kosmostrology, guys. I am AD. This is the Ace of Swords, and we are going to be doing your pick a card reading for what are your kids going to be like, okay? It's been very interesting how the cards have been coming out, and I don't know if you know, I already recorded this reading, so I'm re-recording it. But it's interesting because the vibe is so different than it was the first time. So I can dig it. But I do want to say remain open for kids. Your kids might already exist. You might be having some kids and then have more kids. You might be adopting kids. You might be foster caring kids. These might be kids that end up, you know, marrying into the family. That might be step kids. So just remain open to what that means, right? What that means are your daughters. You know, these people are my sons. I don't know why I'm so hyped for your reading, guys. I got hyped for group 3. So let's get into it. So we're going to start here with, where's my deck? With how many kids you could possibly be having. So let's look into it. Oh yeah, I forgot. The questions that we're going to be asking overall is how many kids, which is what we're doing now. Again, take that with a grain of salt. And then their personalities, their looks, their interests, what they will learn from you, and last, what you will learn from them. And then of course we're going to end on some oracle cards. So that's what you have to look forward to in this reading. So let's get into it. Pile number 3. Thank you so much for joining me. I feel like your kids are going to be the hip hop. I'm getting strong hip hop influence. So let's see. This is so interesting. So, of course, we got 10. I don't think that you're going to have 10 kids. It could be 1 and 1. See what I'm saying? Take it with a grain of salt. So, it could be 2 kids. But, yeah, let's see if we get any more. I'm getting strong December. Sorry, guys. I'm just like... Yeah, I feel like it'll probably be 2 kids. 2 children. 1 and 1. Let's see if anything helps to confirm or if I'm just going to stay confused. Because the 8 card came out, which is totally fine. Yeah, the Alpha and the Omega. But I didn't feel like it meant... I don't know. It didn't stick with me. But anyways, so we got the Alpha and Omega. So I definitely see that you could end up having a boy and a girl. 1 and 1. So yeah, let's hop into it. So that's for how many you could have. Again, take it with a grain of salt. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So we're going to start off with the astrology cards, guys. Please remember, I subscribe to Vedic, so my placements might be different, but the energies should read about the same. So we're looking into their personality, what these little kids looking like, you know, what they doing. So we're starting off with Gemini. I think there's 2 again, just to confirm the 2 possible boy, girl, whole thing going on. Very intellectual is kind of what I'm getting. Perhaps you could have twins. Gemini energy has popped up a lot through the reading, so that's pretty interesting. But you could end up maybe even having twins, that 1 and 1. But I would feel like if they are twins, they would certainly be fraternal. They are not identical twins. Well, of course, if they're boy and a girl. But yeah. But very inquisitive. Likes to ask questions, likes to know more. Gemini energy can be known as flighty. I'm a Gemini rising, so, you know, don't take it personally. I take that personally. But they're always on the move, trying to do things, trying to explore different things. Curiosity certainly kills the cat. Water element sign sensing. So we got Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio represented here. So I do imagine that if it is twins, then they will really have like this uncanny telepathy. But if not, then I do think that your kid will just have uncanny telepathy in general. They will be able to like read minds is what I'm hearing. Yeah, which is pretty interesting. Like they'll know what you're thinking before you say it. Oh, we got the Scorpio transformation card, and then that November 8th card came out. So Scorpio energy is okay. I see why that came out earlier, but not at the time. So November, your children could easily be born in November. Or December birthdays towards the end of the year. So fall babies is kind of what I'm getting. But they have this they have a really inquisitive mind. Like they genuinely like to get to the bottom of things. With that scorpionic energy there with the Gemini, I feel like your child asks a lot of questions, perhaps deeply spiritual questions, but they could easily move into some sort of detective work at some point in time, or say that that's what they want to do. And they honestly, whether they're a detective and get paid for it or not, this is the type of your kids will be able to solve any problem. They are certainly problem solvers, whether it's one or both of them. I'm picking that energy up for both of them. They're certainly problem solvers, and they're really survivors, you know. So we got Black Moon Lilith mystery. So I don't know why I'm getting this like really mysterious. And oh, I'm so happy that this came up. When I was shuffling for pile 3, this was like the most difficult group to come out. Like I really and I ended up switching the decks. I ended up using like this darker, you know, the darker deck. So it's interesting to see all these dark cards come out, because I feel like your children or your child is very like broody. They just are very broody, very shy at first, but extremely deep thinking, even with the Gemini energy. So they might be somebody who later on in life, like a lot of people know them and they have a lot of acquaintances, but not necessarily a whole lot of friends, just because they are so deep thinking. Very passionate creatures. I do imagine, I will say this, your child is going to be very good looking. They're going to be very alluring. I don't think that they will know how good looking they are. And if it's twins, then like people are just going to be completely magnetized to your children and not necessarily know why, but there definitely is a sexiness quality that comes from them. You can't control that. Like I hope that's not weird, but I'm just saying, like when your child grows up or your children grow up, they could be known for just how good looking and kind of cute and sexy that they are. And they have this super intense energy. People are just so enamored by them. I even enamored by them when I was doing the cards. Like I said, their pile stuck out to me. I remembered. I was like, why is this energy so difficult to come through? But I'm looking at these cards. So the children's might carry like a lot of mystique, right? With that mystery card there. People are genuinely trying to figure them out. And perhaps you yourself are trying to figure them out. Right? Very much Bruce Wayne. It's serving me. And they got this earth stability. So Turgo, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And we do also get like these eclipsing energies too, with Taurus, Scorpio here. So what is interesting about this? So we have air, earth, water, all represented. So they're very balanced, but I feel like your child or your children, I keep saying, I want to keep saying children, so it might be twins. They are very much survivor oriented. We'll have to look into their interest, but I am getting like this deep need for survival. Like they're certainly like survival to the fittest. So let's keep going. Air. So air, backing up again, this Gemini energy, Aquarius, Libra also represented here. So very smart. I am picking up strongly on the Aquarius right now. So that's interesting, that Scorpio Aquarius combo. That's why I was like, they're going to be out there and kind of zany and do their own things, but at the same time, they're very deep. This person is not shallow. I feel like your person does not, your child, sorry, your child is not one for small talk. And I think I keep referring to them as a person because they're super grown very early. Like they don't play. They're like, I ain't play. I didn't have recess. Wanna know why? Because I ain't play. Like I just feel like they're a very serious individual from an extremely young age. Could have a moon and an earth sign, particularly Capricorn is kind of what I'm hearing. Neptune, so Pisces energy too. And again, just this psychic abilities. So I do feel like your child will certainly have some super psychic abilities. They might even be able to talk to dead people. I know that's super specific, but I get that they have this uncanny ability and gift to talk to people beyond. So that'll obviously be something that you're going to want to nurture and curate from a young age. So if your kid says, you know, some weird stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, I take them seriously. I do think that they really have a gift for being able to look through death, life itself, and kind of come up with these crazy insights that you'll be like, what? Or if they're twins, then they'll be like, twin occultist, you know. They could make a business out of it, which is super interesting. Fire, and again, right over Scorpio. So Mars placement is what I'm hearing, specifically Aries and Scorpio, but could be Sagittarius or Leo. So interestingly enough, we keep getting this opposing twin energy with this air fire. So there will be opposites. There will be opposites within your kids, within your two kids. So you can guess, if one is a Pisces, the other's a Virgo. If one is Aquarius, the other's a Leo. If they're not physical twins, then they will just have like very twin flamey energy, if that makes sense. So really cool. I do get an overall, I do want to express that this isn't anything like scary because like the darker energy, but I feel like your child or your children just have like this really cool, subtle vibe. Like they don't speak much, that people don't know a lot about them, but they know a lot about people. It's kind of what I'm hearing. Oh, not Aquarius poking out. Didn't I say I was picking up on Aquarius strongly? Yeah. Yeah. So could have dominant 11th house placements or like Uranus in the first house, but your kid is just on some next wave. They do not do small chit chat. Neither of them do. Trust me. Your kid is about money. They're about stability. They really want what they want, and they're going to they're going to follow their fire and passions and desires, but they definitely think on a different wavelength than other people, and they're okay being like, Mom, I'm misunderstood. It's okay. Neptune Uranus combo right here, goodness, they are just on some different shiz. I just imagine that your child will be very different. Your children are going to be extremely different. I am hearing that they might even have like their own language. And it's so funny because me and my sister are like this when we talk, especially when we talk about astrology, you know, Vedic astrology, most people don't know what that is. So when we talk about it, which we talk about all the time, people are like, what are y'all talking about? Like we have our own language. So, and inside jokes and all the other stuff. So I imagine that that'll be very strong. I am getting that your children will be close. And it's funny that we have the sword. Y'all pick the sword energy. So your children's thoughts are going to be very important to them and important to their existence. So they could easily write. And I know that sounds weird to word it that way, but some people who are more athletic, their body, this person is definitely a mind person. Your children are very thoughty, intellectual type. They're definitely going to want to receive higher education. There could be a student for a very long time, especially with that Gemini energy there. But they're extremely inquisitive. And they know a lot. Your children, both of them, excuse me, might even be labeled in like that genius category at some point. Hence why no small talk. And then we end with that Virgo opposing Pisces. These are the exact examples that I use. Leo, Aquarius, Pisces, Virgo. So very interesting. I feel like your children they balance one another out. Very much. So it was interesting that they came as that 1 and 1, you know? So they're very much individuals that meet in the middle and they help each other grow. That's very specific to your pile. So I can't wait to dig into it. But again, with that Virgo, the intellect is so important to them. Written communication. They might be bloggers, writers, or get into marketing, PR of some sort, and they will be very revolutionary within that. Journalism. We'll have to keep looking into the cards because I'm curious to see what they're going to do. But I am getting this energy that your kids will be known together. Like they will be known as siblings. They work that tightly to one another. Yeah, so let's keep digging. So now we're going to move into like their looks. And I did pick animal cards, not because I think your kids are going to look like animals, but I just wanted to have some reference. I thought that would be interesting to interpret it this way. So wow, we got the polar bear mystic. Oh my gosh, look at that. The polar bear and the grizzly bear. So funny. Yeah, you definitely are having one and one. The alpha and the omega, they are opposites, but they are the same. Again, this could come in the form of twins. Man, this is nuts. It's going to be different for two of you. You're either going to have two kids who are opposites or fraternal twins. Pam, you know? And I'm sticking to it, you know? But it's interesting to see this mystic and power. Like, look at these powerful mystics. Your children are so different and so they're different. I can't wait to get into it. Their interest cards. But as far as their look, there's something here about the look in their eyes. They might have light eyes, but a lot of hair, a lot of thick hair is kind of what I'm seeing too. And yeah, they might be different spectrums of skin tone. Like they might look different too with the white energy here, this, you know, white bear and then the brown bear. So they will look different. Even if they are twins, they're not going to look alike for sure. They'll be opposites, but they definitely just bring a different energy. But it's cool because they're really separate individuals. Your kids are very much different. They're not at all the same. And what was that? What did I want to say? There was something that I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. Hopefully maybe it'll come back. And then, oh yeah, thank you. It did come back. So I was like, they will be bigger than life is kind of what I'm hearing. They have a presence. They might be like small, but I just feel like they certainly have a presence when they enter the room. We got the sea otter. So love to laugh, love to have a good time. People will see them as, I know that they have darker, heavier energies, of course, but at the same time, and I'm happy that this came out, they will definitely be able to have a good time. Like they're not going to be just Edgar Allan Poe out here. But they could be like able to write Edgar Allan Poe as poetry and all that kind of stuff. If they do work and do dark stuff, they will be definitely towards the darker end of the spectrum, especially with all that scorpionic energy, if they end up with Scorpio some way. And again, once you get into Vedic charts and Vedic astrologies, it's so complex with the chart rulership and these placements that move there and all that other stuff. So regardless of what their signs are that were listed, they will certainly have either very strong 8th house placements or scorpionic placements in general. Oh my gosh, guys, this is hilarious. Look at the Ravens. Speaking of Edgar Allan Poe. So I just imagine that they will, again, this darker energy, but this shaman, and when I say darker, I don't mean bad. I just feel like they just have access to a lot of occult knowledge very early. If you already have your children or have one of them, please confirm this. And even here, we have 2 and then 2. So it keeps expressing 2. So there's 2 of them. So I just really feel like your children are going to have this super spiritual knowledge very deeply. They're going to be able to really communicate. You're gonna be like, who are you talking to? And they're like, my friend. And you're like, nobody's sitting there, Doug. You know what I'm saying? But they'll be like really able to do that. So I know that this is weird and this is a one-off, but I really hope that at some point like covens and stuff kind of come back and people learn how to get back into tune with their spiritual gifts, because it's really not fair that our society is not conducive to have young people learn these gifts a lot earlier. You know, like if you're gifted with being able to see into the future or being able to communicate with dead people or whatever, there's no place for you to like go learn to hone that. You end up running from it, you know? Like my little sister is so funny. So she has Moon and Scorpio in the 3rd. This could be that placement. Moon and Scorpio in the 3rd, Virgo rising. So there's that. But when she was younger, she saw things and could communicate with dead people and like all the other stuff. She refused to sleep in her room, but because she was younger, she didn't say that's what it was because it feels crazy, you know? But now it's funny because older, she's just like, dang, like I was so scared of that gift that like I'd be interested if I could do it now. So now it'll be interesting to see if it comes back. But I feel like your children will definitely have that experience where they'll just say some off the wall crap. You're like, what? But they're dead ass. Like they're dead serious. They genuinely will be able to communicate with spirits and see things that other people may not. But again, this mystic, so back to their looks, sorry. I just imagine that they're going to have a lot of hair and probably darker hair. So with the interesting thing with like this, they'll have a powerful energy, but with this bird, I think that they'll probably be quite slender in some regards, be able to move very freely. They'll be in tune with their body, but people are not going to want to mess with them. Your children are certainly not ones to mess with, okay? So let's go ahead and move into what are their interests. The Two of Pentacles, again, 2, right? The 5 of Cups, wow. They really, I do feel, I just heard Michael Jackson, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race, you know? So I do feel like your children are going to want to improve. The strong Aquarian energy with the star here, they really want to help people out of depressions and funks. Like I said, they're going to do it together. I really get that energy that they might be able to do it together. But they do bring about change with the 5 of Pentacles and kind of bring people into light. I do feel like they take dark situations and turn them into light. Transformative, very scorpionic energy like I spoke about earlier. So there's a very transformative 8th house energy about your children that is super profound. And like I said, they might take a while to come through if you haven't been introduced to them already, right? Your kids. But they certainly have a high calling with the star card here. They are going to stand out. People are going to be very drawn and mystified by them, quite honestly. We got the Ace of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. So, okay, so I'm also hearing too that if they're not, they will have powers regardless, but if they don't try to capitalize on those powers, they might work in like architecture or building things. I feel like your people, it could be sculptures too. I feel like they're really good with their hands, your children are. And so they do like building things, but they're also going to feel Mother of Swords, again, the strong Aquarius energy, Gemini, Libra. For a while, they are going to feel super different. So I'm happy that you're watching this reading because you're going to want to nurture that with them, you know. They will be different. They have been gifted a very special gift, right? And so they might feel a little outcast with the 9 of Wands being in the middle and with this Moon card and the 5 of Pentacles. So they are going to want to eventually build like a community, cult. Just kidding, but I do see that they'll have the power to build a community where they feel more understood, because again, in their younger years, they might feel super misunderstood just because they really do have a deeper connection with the quote unquote dead than they do with living people. And that's just that, you know, that's just that on that. Again, I picked this deck and this is the darker deck. So of course, if this isn't resonating with you, then you can pick another deck. If you're like, ooh, I don't know how to handle that. But I feel like you yourself have experienced this. You felt like this. And so your children are coming to you so you can kind of coach them and work with them through it in a way that you felt like it should have been handled. So hopefully you're kind of coming to this reading as for spirit to give you a sign and permission to go ahead and nurture those gifts. Don't make them feel like they're different. Go ahead and let them explore that in a healthy way when we figure that out. You know, like I feel like I'm in the midst of trying to figure out like, how do you take these little kids and not tell them that they're weird and tell them that they have a gift, you know, and not call them schizophrenic or bipolar or, you know, any of that stuff. Not saying that your child will get that label, but that's just kind of the situation in the society that we live in. Schizophrenia, side note, schizophrenia has always been something that's so interesting to me, because what if it's just you're experiencing a different reality? You have access to one. Like, walk us through that process. But that's a conversation for another day. I don't want to say that I think your kid is going to be schizophrenic, but since I said it and I brought it up, maybe those type of energies have run throughout your family. Mental health is real. Mental health is a real thing. It is genetic. And I do think that it comes from, a huge part of it is we misinterpret it and misinterpret and mislabel, spiritual phenomenons and try to put a scientific explanation on it. And it ends up creating these categories. So if that's something that resonates for you, doesn't have to, don't take it if it doesn't. But if that's something that you struggled with, I do see you and your children being provided another opportunity to kind of rewrite those narratives and choose those gifts to explore instead of be afraid of them and be ashamed of them, is what I'm hearing. So It's cool that there's two of them coming because they will absolutely have one another, but at the same time, that's kind of what isolates them because they have one another. So that's just something to be aware of as you're like socially conditioning them, right? To be fully functioning, participating, and productive members of society, which I absolutely feel that they will be. Beautiful, the Empress. Again, we got the Star and the Empress and the Nine of Wands. So after a journey, they do come, and I do want to hear what this Nine of Wands. I feel like your kids in particular are kind of like almost, they're on like one of the final lifetimes. I know that's specific, but they're on kind of like their final lifetimes. Like they come to share, bring light to the situation, and then they're kind of like outie 500. So we'll see how that goes. And then we got the Ace of Cups. Beautiful. And the Mother of Pentacles. Aww. So you could either have a boy and a girl or two girls is kind of what I'm getting. I'm not picking up on two boys. You'll have two girls or a boy and a girl. But I'm not picking up on two boys in this specific reading. And again, take it with a grain of salt. But I just feel, look at this. The communication that your children are able to provide really offers a super stable, loving energy. The Mother of Pentacles to the Mother of Swords under the Star card. This is such a giving and maternal character. Whether, again, they're boys and a girls, the Empress, they really know how to nurture. And I think it's because of just the insights and the downloads that they get from a very young age. I cannot express to you enough that your children, both of them, are going to have access to such extreme occult deep knowledge that it's going to be fascinating. But it's because they've collected before. I believe in past lives, so you can take it or resonate it, but they've collected a lot of information from different lives, and they've come here to really share it. The Ace of Cups with the Mother of Pentacles, I do picture that there's a super stable energy and grounding energy. And I do imagine, as funny as it is, at least for the girl, the feminine energy, I do get that one of her interests is she's going to want to definitely be a stay-at-home mom, and she might give birth to even more powerful creatures. So you come from a long line. That's what I'm getting. You come from a long line of very spiritual, witchy wizards. I'm specifically here, and I'm not saying it with this flair. I don't have the Spanish flair, but like brujas, brujos. I just really feel like you come from a long line of super strongly powerful warlocks, wizards, and lions. But they're definitely continuing this spiritual journey. And I do think that as we move into the age of Aquarius and we move through the age of Aquarius, they're going to be pioneers in just being comfortable in their own spiritual gifts, and it'll be more accepted and accepting. So I just feel like there's a long line of royalty that comes from your children, and there certainly is going to be a lot of love that comes in, a lot of love that they have to give, and they offer so much stability to people who feel not. I do feel like, again, the feminine energy probably will adopt kids or be a foster children or work with children very closely. I'm not picking up so much here on the boys' energy in this particular feeling, but regardless of what the boy does, it'll be something that is very based and centered in love with the Ace of Cups here and the Empress. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and pull cards. Let me see if I can get something for the boys' energy. So don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that I'm picking some extra cards. But I feel like the feminine came through. So I feel like the girl might come first, if that makes sense. If they're not fraternal twins, even if they are, I just feel like the girl might be the oldest. So you might have a girl first, and then the boy kind of later. But yeah, you definitely, okay, the Nine of Swords. All right, we're gonna look into that. King of Swords, the Son of Pentacles, Son of Swords, Son of Pentacles, and the Father of Cups. Can I get some more? And again, wow, the High Priestess. Oh my goodness gracious. The Death card. Oh my gosh. The Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So just so you know, this is not negative at all. So, and it's funny because this kind of relates to pile 2. So you might be able to watch pile 2 about the boy, because I picked up on stronger masculine energy there. But I just get this overall energy of your son is going to he definitely carries a lot of scorpionic energy. So there's going to be a lot of start, restart, stop, push, pull. He's going to have to really learn how to kind of work through those mental anxieties. I feel like he might suffer more. And you want to know why? And let me say why. Because it's harder to be a different kind of man. Do you understand? Like, it's harder to not fit into the super specific role of masculinity. But I do want to say that I feel like your son, with the Father of Cups, High Priestess to the Death card, he could end up being like some sort of mystic, like a Deepak Chopra. You know, like there are very powerful spiritual men. Oh, you know what? You know who I've been obsessed with, who's had like quite the journey? Russell freaking Brand. Like, he is such a deeply profound intellectual creature. And I always thought that he was smarter than what he was portrayed as in the media. But seeing him develop and grow, he's such a spiritual person and very enlightening. And I always say, like, he's definitely doing God's work. So I do imagine that I'm telling you, you know, here, be patient with your son, especially if you already have your son. Be patient with him, because he is going to morph into this super deep knowing person with all this super wisdom. But it comes after transition, it comes after transformation, and just kind of, I'm sorry to say, some dark nights of the souls. I will say here with this, I want to say your daughter will probably be the more stable one. Your son might experiment with drugs and alcohol. He'll be able to come out of it, but I just feel like that'll make him a better teacher in the long run. But your daughter does seem to be very stable. She's going to follow the rules, do the right thing. Like I said, they're opposites. But I do feel like your son is definitely going to be more on like the rebellious side. And just kind of be more like it's going to take him a wee bit longer to kind of understand how to use his gifts within the society and the establishment that we exist in. That's pretty deep, but that's what I'm getting as far as his interest. But let's see. Artist, definitely. I definitely see both of your kids will be able to be an artist. I just feel like your daughter's going to work from home more. I don't know why I'm getting that. Like, she'll be able to do, like, if Etsy's still a thing, but she'll do like more craft work, where your son is more of like, I'm seeing film. He does more of everything else as far as his expression, just because he is such a deep thinker. But I just imagine that he's going to be like the more like broody one of the two, and the daughter just kind of holds down the fort. But again, they have such a deep understanding and rooted understanding of one another that they do find support. So do not be scared of this journey. This is just what it's going to be. And it's just because their mind, it works so slowly, but their actions are a little bit slower. So I just feel like they mature in a different way than you're expecting. But there'll be a major transformation. And again, they will be hella powerful and spiritual. Your kids are so freaking psychic. But like, there are certainly men who get into tarot. I have guy clients. Hey, guy clients, if you pick this card reading, but it's just different. It's just a different interaction with it, They possibly were a very strong wizard in a past life. And I'm getting a strong K2 in the 9th house for your son. So yeah, if you know what that means, great. If not, then you can look it up. But let's look into it. So what did they learn from you? The 10 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, and the Devil. Alrighty. So I just feel like I just heard they really learned the difference between right and wrong from you. and not in a way where you are like, no, you can't do that. No, that's terrible, or blah, 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 blah. But I just get that they will kind of get an understanding of the devil and how the world works and how they learn to navigate through it. Like I said, your children will spend a lot of time kind of isolated because they're just a deeply thinking person. I do feel like if you pick pile 3, you suffered from this. Your child is just a little bit they're a little bit deeper than you are, because it's a little bit more, they're just being born at a different time, right? So they're gonna have access to different information. But I feel like you wrestled with this for what it's worth. They're just taking it a step further. But look, the 10 of Pentacles was first. And what is that? The husband, the wife, the 2 kids, and maybe a possible little baby and a dog. But of course I saw the 2 kids first. And one's blonde, one's brown. So You know, we're just stepping into that. So do not be afraid. I just want to express, like, don't be afraid of the legacy that you're bringing, because you are going to be able to provide a really stable environment for them to learn and grow up and kind of being conditioned in, which is absolutely beautiful. And they appreciate and love that. And they learn the power of family and partnership. I just get such strong Piscean energy. I hope that you, Pile 3, understand what I'm going through, understand what I'm saying. I feel like you're probably like the most spiritually based. I don't want to say that. That's a mislabeling, but I feel like you're more open to some kookier ideas if you pick this pile, and I hope so it can make some type of sense. But I just feel like the legacy that you provide your children are very much spiritual beings having a human experience, and they know that from a young age. They're like, my body is limiting to me, this world is limiting to me. Like, why are people the way that they are? Again, they end up turning it into the super healing thing, but just kind of through their teenage years and their early 20s. Oof, okay, just be patient, especially with your boy. He's on his own path, but I do think that he will definitely morph into this super knowing thing with all this wisdom. Your girl's gonna stay there and do it. She's chilling. She's like, whatever. Yeah, I talk to dead people. I started a YouTube channel and I'm calling it a day. Your son's more like, why? You know, but there's so much love with the 10 of Pentacles in the household, and again, they picked you. I do come from that mindset where children pick their parents and vice versa. So he knew that you would be able to provide this experience for them to explore. But again, with this devil obsession energy, I do feel like your son, more than anybody, is going to need support through just kind of addictive qualities. And perhaps this is something that runs in the family. Like I said, I feel like it's genetic, but it's just because it hasn't been dealt with in the past correctly, you know. With the Empress here, I do want to say that you're powerful enough to solve it. So I do want to express that. Wow. So let's see what you learn from them. The Queen of Wands. What did I say about power? So you definitely know how to put a hold in it. And I do feel like you learn to step into your own power and follow your own passions. And I do see with this sunflower, like you definitely do rise and bloom and blossom. The Two of Pentacles. You certainly learn how to balance yourself and balance your time and balance with the Two of Pentacles and juggling, and that wrestling that snake. So there definitely is, I do want to say Pile 3, and again, I picked this up while I was shuffling. I just get that, like, you definitely are going to have to rein in the powers. There definitely is some karma tied to your children and just the legacy of your family that you've had thus far. And then they really teach you, the Knight of Cups, they really teach you unconditional love. Truly unconditional love. And I think that they love you and you love them unconditionally. It just is, there's ups and downs with the Two of Pentacles, and they teach you how to be forgiving and understanding. And it's just because they have so many thoughts and so many gifts and so much power and so much mysticism, and just learning how to navigate this world with you as their leader. And they look forward to that. And I do think that by the end of it, you end up being super proud of what you've been able to accomplish and what your children are able to accomplish. I don't imagine that this will be, I hope that this wasn't heavy or scary, Pile 3. It's just like you're dealing with some very deep children. They're not simple. They're very complicated from a very young age, which that just happens sometimes, but you'll be able to handle it. And I think that you would understand that you relate and identify them to them more, is what I'm getting for you, Pile 3. So before I let you go, we're going to step into, your oracles. But I do want to say thank you so much for your continued support. Again, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out that description box so you can get my TikTok, my Instagram. I do wickedy wiki, okay? I do Wicked Wednesdays, and that is where I do like the short mini zodiac readings. And at the end, I do ask live personal questions. Or answer live personal questions rather. So if that interests you, please hippity hop on over there. And one time for the one time, or 3 times for the 3 times, because the 3rd time, here is my Cash App. If you feel so moved to donate to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. Anything helps, even if it's just a prayer. And this is Cash App, $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. And if your PayPal is more up your speed, then you can find that information in the description box. But I do want to say thank you so much for your continued support. I love y'all, and let's hop into it. All right, so we got Secret Admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. And I like this because, again, all that scorpionic energy, like, your children love the mess of you. They're just not super, love the mess out of you. They're just not super expressive up top. So just know that. Just know that. Friendship. Nurture the bonds of friendship within your relationship, and your love life will dramatically improve. So I do feel like not only will your kids be friends, but you nurture the friendship with your kid. And don't try to force them to fit into the societal norms. Of course, like I said, you want them to be productive members of society, but they're very gifted. They're very magic. You're giving birth to some, this yoni is giving birth to some extremely magical children. And so I think that, not in the sense of you're a friend and, you don't discipline them, but make sure that you're friendly towards them in the way that you curate them, because they're dealing with such sensitive creatures. They're so sensitive, especially your boy. So they take a lot of it personally. That doesn't mean that you have to tiptoe around their feelings all the time, but it does mean that Spirit is giving you a heads up and a warning to just remain open to them. And at times you're really going to have to build a friendship with them, because at times you might not understand what they're going, because they do have secrets, but they just have a lot of watery placements, okay? And freedom. There's nothing stopping you. The path is clear if you want it to be. So allow a lot of freedom with this connection. Allow a lot of freedom with your children, and I think that you will learn a lot for them. They really will make you feel super powerful, because you are giving birth to such powerful creatures. So like I said, 1, 2, definitely a boy and a girl, or 2 girls. And if it is 2 girls and I read it as the masculine, perhaps they could be, their sexual orientation could be different. That could be something that they end up wrestling with. That's not for everyone. That's just for somebody, putting it out there because I am getting that energy. But just be patient with them and be friendly with them. Like, you don't have to treat them as friends. They're kids. They're not your friends. But I just imagine that it'll be so important for you to just try to understand them on a human to human level, or a spirit having a human experience to another spirit having a human experience level, and then you'll be able to mesh the two. So there will be a balancing act required here, pile 3. But you definitely can handle it, and you're strong. They definitely picked you, but you're certainly giving birth to some very magical, dark, magically dark, beautiful, occult creatures. And I am getting here too, when I said that, there might be health issues. So be mindful of that, just with that Virgo and that Scorpio energy there. So they might have to go, they might pay attention to their health. Not that they're dying, I don't get that, but they might just need a little bit more extra attention for health purposes. Is what I'm getting on the tail end. So I hope that resonated. Please let me know if it did, if you already have your kids, or if that makes sense, like you kind of sense that. I do believe that these readings can easily be confirmation for what we already know. Right? So yeah, so let's get into it. And thank you so much. So now we are moving on to our 4th pile, the Ace of Pentacles. Last but not least, guys, hello, welcome to your reading. This is Kosmostrology. I am AD, so this is the bonus pile, pile number 4. This is if you picked, okay, let me calm down. Whew. I don't normally do 4 piles, and this is why, because I literally like, what, where am I? Whew. Okay. Hello, it is AD with Kosmostrology, and I'm going to be doing your pick a card reading, guys. So this is if you pick pile number 4 with the Ace of Pentacles here, guys. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. This pick a card is about what will your future kids be like, your bundle of joy. Each pile has been so unique and different. So I'm curious about the 4th pile to see what comes up. But we're going to be asking how many. Take that with a grain of salt, of course. Their personalities, what their looks, their interests, what they learn from you, and what you learn from them. And then, of course, we're going to end on some beautiful oracle cards. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hippity hop into this. Alrighty. So we're going to start here with how many? How many kids for pile 4? Got 2 cards that came out, 8 and 6 here. I'm going to take, I know that like, and I said, take it with a grain of salt. That's why I said that. So we're just going to keep looking. But 8 and 6 popped out. So that they could be born in August or they could be born in June. It's kind of what I'm getting from there. So let's see. 1. All right. So 1. So pile 4, you can end up with like 1 kid. If you want more, then you can pick another pile. But I do feel like this is just zooming in on 1 energy. So let's see. And again, don't take it for gospel. Like, that's what I want you to like. Don't take it for gospel. Just go with it. If you want more kids, then you'll have more kids. If you just got 1, then you just got 1. It's cool. This is all for entertainment. But let's go ahead and get into the business. So now we're moving into the Vedic. Now we're moving into the astrology portion, guys. Please remember I subscribe to Vedic astrology, so my placements might be a little different than yours, but the energy should read about the same. All right, so we're starting off here with North Node, life purpose, K2 represented. So the one thing is like, and maybe that's why there's 1 kid. You could have karma with children, and that's why it could take you a long time to have that 1 kid. You could be like the later pile. We'll see, of course, if that ends up reflecting in the rest of the cards, but I am picking up on that. Excuse me, I read that so wrong. I don't know why I said North Node, life's purpose. Excuse me, Rahu. So regardless, there still is karma in that in your children, right? With the North Node energy represented here. But there will be forward movement. So let's keep digging into it. The Taurus I have, Sagittarius I see, and then Sun, Spirit, Leo energy represented there, and then Saturn. Okay, so I was picking up on some sort of delay. So yeah, all right. This child, your 1 child, if it is 1, might come a little bit later, or this 1 child might come after, you know, your other children. But I am getting that it could take some time to get there, but you are certainly meant to be a mother, particularly if you've had issues with kids. So the one thing I do see when I see about the Sagittarius kid, your child could easily be of mixed race of some sort, but they will certainly stand out. This is so funny. Very similar energies to pile 1 that are coming out. So if you're interested, if you want more kids, then you can look at pile 1. But yeah, very similar energies that are coming out. Taurus. So I am getting like this slow moving energy. Again, likes luxury. You know, be patient with your Taurus kids. They figure it out, but they're only going to move at their own pace. You cannot force Taurus energy to move any quicker than it wants to, especially with Saturn. And then Saturn return age. So you might have this kid in your 30s. You might have kids in your later 30s. Is kind of what I'm hearing too. So just be aware of that. Sun spirit. But I do feel like your child will shine. Right now I am picking up on a boy because we have masculine, feminine, but I am picking up more so on a male energy. Of course, doesn't have to be, but we'll look into it. Very dramatic. I just see a lot of fire coming in with this person with Sagittarius and Sun. So they're very explorative and they stand out. I do get that. Your child does impatient is what I'm hearing with the life with this Rahu energy. They do just like to go for it head first. They're like, I'm gonna go for it head first, even though they're a little bit slower moving. So that's pretty interesting. So again, I'm hearing late bloomer. They might be a late bloomer. So if you already have your kid, you have to let me know if that resonates. If not, then just be aware of that. All right, so let's move into some more astrology. Aries, boom. What did I say right over Rahu? Impatience, being able to bulldoze through it. So they might actually like Earth. So this is a really funny combination. So Virgo, Capricorn, strong Capricorn, Taurus. So they are a mixture of earth and fire. Not earth, wind, and fire, but specifically earth and fire. So they want to rush things and get things done, but at the same time, they're really slow to do it. So let's keep digging into it. Saturn, like I said, there might be some delay to your kid being born. I am picking up really strongly on 1. I feel like it's the same energy from this person, but they are entertaining enough. You only need 1. Trust me. You only need 1. Jupiter. So Sagittarius, again, Pisces energy, specifically Sagittarius. So they could be born in December, January is also what I'm hearing. But Big personality. I really just get that your child has a big personality, but at the same time, they are going to be very stable when it comes to this earth energy. Very extremely blessed Taurus. They might have Jupiter in the second is what I'm hearing. So you will be able to provide them, probably because you have them a little bit later. They'll be very comfortable growing up for sure. They'll be well taken care of. I'm very lucky. So you're lucky to have them, and they are lucky to have you is what I'm hearing, no matter how long it takes with the Saturn there. They will late bloomers is really what I'm hearing. By the time it's all said and done and they're towards their 30s, mid 30s, they're going to be so calm, cool, collected, disciplined. You're going to be so surprised with how they end up growing and what they end up manifesting into. But they will be very serious later. But I am getting in their younger years, wildin' for sure. And then we got Libra, so double Venus. So I do imagine that your child will be attractive for sure. Good looking people, again, perhaps they are of a mixed race or an exotic race, or they're exotic to the environment that they're in. And like I said in the first pile, so you might want to look into the first pile too if you're looking for another child. But I just said, like, I'm not saying that you have to be mixed to be beautiful, or all mixed people are beautiful. I'm not saying that. I just feel like a child could have some things that are exotic that make them stand out, and they will happen to be of the beauty standard. All of that is coincidence, not the standard itself. Okay, I want to express that clearly. But I do feel like regardless, they will be very symmetrical, and they will be very Venetian, especially with this. I do feel like they will have a nice body, boy or girl. Like I said, I picked up strongly on the boy's energy, but if it is a girl, they will have a very nice body, and be taken care of beautifully. So we got this Lynx, keeper of secrets, for the look. So now we're moving in more so to the looks and personality. So very cat. So that's why I feel like they will have a very feline movement about them. They'll be light on their feet, so they could be tall and slender. The catwalk, like I said, I don't know if I said this, but your child will be very attractive, so they could really end up modeling. Or that could be something that they constantly get all the time. Like, you should model, you should model, you should model. They might not be interested in it, but I am getting that they will be very sexy. There's a sexiness about them. And I do think that they possess big D energy. At the end of the day, they know that they're loved. So they don't have any issue with getting love. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they might have, it's funny, they might have big ears. They might be like really cute and then have like, you know, some big ears. Wow, harem, patience. And again, just echoing that, like, you're going to want to be patient with them. They're going to come together, but a little later, or it's going to take them some time to come through. But again, with this long beak, I picture a really slender build for your kid. Boy or girl, again, just really tall, lengthy, definitely can move and dance. Long legs, very much leg. Look at them legs. So I feel like that'll be a signature. So perhaps you have long legs or your partner has long legs, but they will definitely be pretty tall is also what I'm getting. Wow, cat. That is so funny. So they will definitely be cat-like. Perhaps they'll have cat eyes, is what I'm hearing. They'll have something really special about their eyes. So they could easily, I feel like they'll have light eyes for sure. People will just comment on them. Like I said, your child is really going to be a beauty. They're much more than that for sure, but they're going to be a beauty. Especially look at that Jupiter. Look at that body. So if they're a masculine, they will not be lacking. And perhaps that's why their Aries energy comes in. They will make their way around. You know what I'm saying? Do not think that for a second, all right? So yeah, that's really what I'm getting. And super intense eyes will be the one thing that stands out. Not the one thing, but one of the major things that stands out about them. And very long, lanky is kind of what I'm getting. As far as their body type with legs. So now we are moving to what are their interests. We're starting off here with the Eight of Swords. Interesting, the Eight of Swords popped up later, but we have Jupiter and Gemini. So I'm just getting that they'll have a lot of options come towards them. Excuse me. Okay, they will have a lot of options comes towards them as they get older. The Three of Pentacles. But they would like to do group activities is kind of what I'm hearing, but they will definitely want to be a leader within those group activities. The Ten of Swords, Gemini. So I do feel like, especially with this cat energy too, I of course, with all the Saturn, this just makes sense. Your child's going to seem really flighty at first. They're just going to be all over the place. They're going to do a little bit of everything, especially with that cat. Curiosity killed the cat. Your child, I will say, will be willing to try anything at least once. This is somebody who's, I'm really picturing that daredevil type energy. So they might be somebody who like jumps out of planes for fun. You're like, oh my gosh. Or they might do extreme sports, skateboarding of some sort. They're very agile. They like to use their body for agility, for a dancing, gymnastics of some sort. But I do imagine that they will have a lot of different interests that they explore, but they will also quit quite a few things. So just be mindful that that's just how they go through life. Specifically with that Sagittarius energy too, they do like to explore, Sagittarius is the opposite of Gemini. So it's funny that all this Gemini is popping up here. And I'm getting more Mercury in these placements, but they're very curious and fascinated about certain things. The Ace of Swords, speaking of Mercury. So we got Aquarius, Libra, Gemini again. So very communicative. I do imagine that your child will like to talk. They will have no issue talking to people. They will never meet a stranger. They're very much, you're like, hey, or maybe when they're super, super young, they'll be quiet. But as they get older, they're definitely going to be super talkative. They'll probably get in a lot of trouble from that in school because they're super talkative. The Five of Cups here in the middle, Scorpio energy, Mars energy. So again, just backing up the Aries, and then the Four of Pentacles. So yeah, like I feel, because they're going to be on the move, life is going to, I just feel like your child might end up with like injuries all the time. Not all the time, but like they will break a bone or two, just because they're constantly going to be doing stuff. They just get into things. Like you just have a daredevil child, boy or girl, again, strong boy energy, but they just like getting into things. They're so curious. They're definitely the person who's just like, oh, if all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you jump off too? Where they're like, well, how high is the bridge? Do I have a bungee cord? What friends are there, first of all? So they're just willing to try anything and explore and do anything in like this really daredevil type way. Like I said, because they experience so much on the upfront, by the time they're in their like later 30s, they're really going to calm down, settle down. But I just imagine that they're just going to be all over the place. It's interesting to see the Five of Cups in the middle. So I do want to say that, and this is nothing, and I'm sure that you could identify it in yourself, but your kid is different, obviously, and perhaps maybe because they're an only child, they do like, right, I do sense if they're an only child, their friendships outside of them will mean so much to them. So they would be like, oh, I want another sibling or whatever, but they'll find their siblings and their friends within the world. But there is just an inherent loneliness to them. And like I said, you might be like that too, where like you're just a lonely person, like you feel kind of misunderstood or that you like don't fit in at times. But of course, I really do feel like they'll overcome it. They don't really meet strangers. It's just really deep down scorpionic way. They feel kind of misunderstood or that they lack direction. Your child feels like they lack direction for a longer time than most other people. And perhaps for you too, you might be like, I don't know what you're going to do with yourself. Like, I don't know. And they're like, I don't know either. It's kind of what I'm getting, but beautiful. We got the Sun card coming out. So they will be able to overcome those insecurities with a lot of self-knowledge. And I do want to, with the two cats there, they are fiercely independent. The Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. So yeah, this is just reiterating the Sun, the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles. They will certainly settle down at some point. I feel like some of you have already had your child. If you haven't, then just keep this reading with you, because sometimes you're really going to be like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do with yourself? But they really are going to calm down in their later years. So I'm just getting such strong daredevil qualities. They're just really willing to explore and risk different things. I imagine, and I can't help but see this Aries, this ram head, even in this Pentacle. They're just going to be... They're going to want to try everything at least once. They came to the world in a body, in a human form, to experience it all. And they will. And they will overcome any challenges that they've come through with the Five of Cups and Ten of Swords. Nobody's life is perfect. You know, you want the best for your kid, of course. But I do imagine that for whatever reason, they do experience some senses of loss. It could be grandparent. It could be, I don't want to get too detailed into it, but I will say that they have experienced some loss. They will experience some loss in some form, and it weighs on them. But they're going to use that to empower them to kind of overcome their demons and work towards something. So I do feel like with this interest and stuff too, your child will end up most likely being an entrepreneur and working for themselves. You know what? I just heard something very specific. Your kid might do some stuff underground a little bit. I'll leave it at that. You can interpret that as you want to. Your son might do some stuff underground. your girl might do some stuff underground before they get it, but I just feel like they don't like being bossed around. They cannot take anybody bossing them around, so they definitely will step into an entrepreneur position where they end up running their own business at some point. But I can't be helped but seeing the flowers that grow, so it will definitely bloom and blossom into something over time, especially with that Taurus energy there. They're just very stubborn. They want to do it at their own pace. They want to do it at their own time. So again, like I said, they might take longer to like get to work. I just feel like they're more of a rebel. I'm getting such really strong rebellious energy from them. But they're very lucky, so it works out. Like I said with Jupiter, they're fine. Like they recover every time. You're like, even you were some surprise, like, oh my gosh. But like I said, your child will provide you, if it's one, they will provide you with endless entertainment. Trust me. So now, what they learn from you. Wow, they learn the power of healing. With the star card here, they really think that you shine. They absolutely love you and they see you as such a rock star, and their rock is really what I'm getting. But you really you allow them to shine. You really support them and you make them feel good about themselves. And that's why they feel like they can take on the world. And eventually they do. Absolutely. So the Mother of Swords. That's why it's so funny. Oh, this is so funny. You don't play with them. Like it's funny that they're wild and they kind of do their own thing, but it's not because you just let them run rampant. You don't. The Queen of Swords here, she doesn't play. Again, strong Aquarius energy being represented here, and again, supporting that Aquariusness about them because they are going to be very out there and original and offbeat. You really teach them how to function in society as different as they are. Now, sometimes they're really not going to listen to you. I promise you. Sometimes you're going to be like, I told you not to do that and you did that anyway. And they're going to be like, I know, but I wanted to feel the burn by myself. So this person definitely runs head first, but they do hear your voice. They certainly hear your voice all the time. In their head, and you set boundaries for them. Actually, that's what they learn from you is how to set boundaries for themselves, because they are so inquisitive and they are so exploratory that they really learn communication skills and all the other stuff from you, and learn how to kind of fit in and rein it in is what I'm getting. Yeah, the Maiden of Swords. Look, Aries energy again. Look, the Queen to the Page of Swords. So, and they feel super protected. They know that you have their back. Is really what I get, kind of to like a very like cocky point where it's like, I know mom got me, I know dad got me. So you do provide them with a lot of support, hence why they're able to explore. And I do think for what it's worth, you encourage them to explore. It's just like when you find out that they like, broke their, leg because they decided to jump off of a rooftop to land this awesome skateboarding trick, you're not going to be happy with that. But at the same time, I do think that you'll understand that. So I'm getting just a very rambunctious energy from them. And what do you learn from them? So the Nine of Swords, again, how not to worry, because I know that you're worried already. You might have Virgo energy, is kind of what I'm hearing too. But I just feel like, they're going to really teach you how to transform about things that you've worried about, because you will worry about them, but then they'll be fine. Everything's going to work out fine with them, and it's going to build your own relationship and trust with spirit. The Eight of Wands. I do feel like you might travel with this person, and they're going to cause you to definitely explore, again, being pulled to that Sagittarius energy. So you'll learn a lot. Excuse me. Perhaps whatever profession they end up doing, they'll take you with them. And so you'll end up traveling. So you'll be very open and expansive. Again, this kid has a lot of Jupiter energy. So they're very guru and they learn a lot. And I do think too, the one thing that I've learned about Jupiter and Sagittarius energy is it really is a lot of patience. So I feel like your child teaches you patience in the genuine term, because they are so patient, because they're just like, it's going to work out. It's fine. Like who cares? It'll be fine. They'll be boogered up and you'll be like, oh my gosh. And they're like, mom, I'm fine. Like it'll heal 6 to 8 weeks. I'm fine. And so I think with all those experiences, you really learn to trust in the divine even more. And the King of Cups. So again, just getting in tune into that intuition and listening to yourself. And I want to say that it's in this interesting way too, because of course they prove that you can be a mom, or a dad. Why am I saying this? At the end of the day, you certainly realize that you were nervous to bring new life into this, and perhaps maybe because of the Saturn and it took a long time, or you thought at times you weren't going to be a good parent or a good provider. they really highlight that you're an awesome one, and they couldn't have wished for a better mother, a better father. And I think that you serve a really dominant and great role with them, and they appreciate it. And you're going to be, when they reach, you know, 20, 30, you're going to be like, oh, they're not ruined. They're actually really great individuals that I'm proud of. So I do think that that is the karma. Like I said, there's a karmic energy here. And I think that there's a fear, or there was a delay in having kids. And so there was a nervousness of if you can even do it. But as time passed on, you realize, yes, you can. And they end up, again, rising into this very beautiful person. That you probably knew was there deep down, but they definitely took some time to rise. So yeah, so now we're going to move into your oracle cards. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out that description box below on information on how to book a personal reading with me, ya beach, okay, ya witch, excuse me. And follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram. I am doing my Wicked Wednesdays where I do the mini Zodiac readings and personal, like little mini personal quick live reading. So if that interests you, then please follow me on Instagram. Those have been so much fun, and I enjoy doing them, and I can't wait to see you there. And just one time, I just want to bring out my Cash App card, guys. So if you are able to donate and contribute to the channel, I would so appreciate that. Even if it's $1, $5, or just prayers, it all goes to the same place, which is my heart, and I love you guys. So if you can, Cash App $, capital A, capital B, lowercase EV224. If PayPal is more up your speed, that donation link is in the description box too. But I do want to say a special thank you to everyone who has donated to the channel and helped me out. This is my main primary income. So, and you know, YouTube's funky, so I really, not that this is your fault or problem. It's just like I don't get paid for like half the videos I do. So there's that. So if you are called to, then I would appreciate it. All right, now after that, let's get back into the cards. So we got soulmate. Your soulmate is already with you in spirit. Believe this and they will manifest physically. I love that. So you and your child are definitely soulmates. You know, I am saying here for some of you, not for all of you, you could be a single parent or you just spend some time raising your child alone. But again, you guys really fulfill one another with that soulmate energy there. And if that doesn't resonate and you don't want that, you know, whatever, take it if it resonates, take it if it doesn't. I just feel like if you are waiting to have a child, you will certainly have a child. This person, this Aries energy is going to force their way through, come hell or high water. Don't worry about it. So just keep remaining positive if you haven't had a child yet, Pal 4, because you certainly will be able to have a child. And if you want more than one, then again, I would pick Pal 1 because that was a different energy. But yeah, but you would definitely at least be having one kid, particularly if it's taken a long time for this child to come with all that Saturn. We got don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it is only being true to yourself that you can be true to others. Yes, 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 yes. I thank you, because that is exactly what I'm saying, especially with this Aquarian energy. You are offbeat. You do not, how you raise your child and how your child explores and expresses himself, because I feel like you're very Sagittarian in the upbringing of their kids, or maybe they're a Virgo rising, so they have Sag in the 4th, or they have Jupiter in their 4th house. Ooh, excuse me. But allow them to be themselves. You don't have to, you're developing your own relationship with your child, you know, and you're going to have your own ways of doing things. You of all groups do not need to be looking at how to parent books, because I just feel like there's a fear here about being a parent, but you're going to be fine. Don't even think that you're not going to be awesome. Your child's going to be great. They're going to turn out more than fine. They're going to be awesome. They're just going to be a little, you know, bad at points in time, because they're just going to do what they want to do. And I think that they see that streak in you. That's something that probably picked up from you. But it's okay, because that's just their journey. Again, they're soulmates. So it's a reflection. And then we got forgiveness. Stop focusing your energy on past events, for life is too precious to wait. You create your reality by what you think, dream, and imagine. So I do feel like there's a forgiveness here. And perhaps I'm also hearing here too, maybe you end up with one kid because you've ended your pregnancies early, or there's been miscarriages. But I'm hearing very specifically, forgive yourself for past encounters if you had babies that didn't make it to term. Forgive your body, you know, forgive your body. If you've had difficulty with having children, because I do see that you're going to have them. It's just taking a longer ride and a longer process than for other people. But the moment that you let some of that energy and stuff go, my dog is sitting over here sneezing. Sorry, Penelope. God bless you. I just feel like you got to forgive yourself and forgive the experience that you have, and know that you will be a wonderful mother, a wonderful father, and you'll be able to do everything that you really got to do. And it could be maybe you have other kids and you just want one more kid to truly like try to raise, you know. It could mean different things for different people. And also just forgive your kid for being a mess, a hot mess express, because they're just going to be a hot mess express till they're not. That's just that. But that is really what I got for you, pile number 4. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out that description box below. And peace, guys. Until next freaking time.